right, Nicole, thank you very much. Perfect weather for those of us that are a little older. Stay loose, about 78 degrees. Had a chance of some rain and thunderstorms. They've all passed and the skies have cleared, which means we are ready for liftoff with guys like Yadier Molina and Nolan Arenado. A lot of hip talk on baseball tonight. Flexibility, agility. Warm weather will help with that. Brandon Crawford had a monster year last year. It is Mustache May for many of the San Francisco Giants, and one of the greatest hitters of all time on the field tonight, Albert Pujols. He carries two bats with him. As we welcome you to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Our telecast is presented by Taco Bell. This should be a fun one. Looking forward to it for sure. Tim Kirkchin is down on the field this evening. Of course, David Cohn, Eduardo Perez on that Cardinal team that can mash. Talk about them in a second. And the Giants have arguably the most dominant fastball pitcher in baseball right now.
Well, it's a throwback night, right? Wainwright on one side at 40 years old, and Rodon with his style, throwing four-seamers. Here it is, hit it at the top of the zone. This guy's pretty remarkable, the year he's having right now.
Look at the numbers there. 53 strikeouts, 7 earned runs in his first 6 starts, an historically good start. And he will challenge the likes of Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, two guys that have made a living killing San Francisco Giants pitchers.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a long time. Nolan with Colorado and Goldie had been with Arizona. And these two guys, they understand how to play in San Francisco and also against San Francisco when they were at home. But most importantly, the matchup today of Rodon against these two. Goldie mashes lefties really well. And so far this season, Nolan Arenado has crushed fastballs up in the zone. That's what he's going to get tonight.
So there are the numbers for those two, and they will look to see their leaders. Adam Wainwright, Albert Pujols, Yadi Molina. Interesting number there. Greg Gibson, you're on the clock. 784 called strikes since 2021, the most in Major League Baseball. Gibson has the plate tonight, and we certainly are looking forward to this one tonight. Harrison Bader. Bader Gator played his college ball at Florida and has been nothing short of the best center fielder in baseball this season. He's got a microphone on for us tonight and an earpiece, and we look forward to talking to him. This is an uber personality. Tell you, the indoctrination here in Cardinal Nation starts when you come out of the womb. You're swaddled in Cardinal towel and blanket, and they are red, white, and they'll wear that outer blue as well. You'll see that tonight. First pitch is coming up on ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball. It is presented by Taco Bell. Back on Sunday Night Baseball, it's not the Eagles reunion tour, but Albert Pujols checked back into the Hotel St. Louis and is back on stage with his longtime mates, Wainwright and Molina. These three stars were the backbones of the blockbuster World Series titles of 06 and 11. Set of gold records, they were hanging gold gloves, all-star selections, and MVP awards. In 2012, the band broke up. Albert went to Hollywood, and fans were devastated. Cardinals haven't won it all since, so here we are, and as Peaches and Herb would say, reunited, and it feels so good. But just how high can this group climb, and what will be their last tour? Will the three legends be able to bring down the house one more time, or has time passed them by? This will be the 312th time that Molina and Wainwright will work as a battery. And if they win tonight, they will set a new record for battery mates to win. It'll be victory number 204. They're sitting there at 203, just off the COVID list for the second time. Take a look at Wainwright's numbers, and as a veteran, Coney, and someone who did this late in your career, what impresses you about him?
He's keeping the ball on the ground. He's staying off the barrel of the bat. He knows what he's doing. He still has one of the best curveballs you'll ever see. People talk about Kershaw's Cooperstown curveball.
Yeah.
Well, Adam Wainwright has one as well.
And he'll throw it a lot. This is a fastball guy, curveball guy, will throw a change every now and then, and a cutter. So number 50, we'll look in at Gabe Kapler's San Francisco Giants, a team that last year won the 107 games, and they did it by mashing the baseball over the wall. They're not yet doing that this season, but Kapler has used a whole bunch of cards from his deck. Tonight, the lineup looks like this. And as Nicole Briscoe and others talked about on Baseball Tonight, he uses more lineups than anybody. In fact, he uses more pinch hitters than almost anybody. So as Wainwright gets set to throw, Tim Kirkchin, the question's going to be as the game goes on, who the heck's standing in the batter's box?
So, Ravi, we know that the Giants use more lineups than anyone. Last year, they used more pinch hitters than anyone, and they're back at it this year. I did the last 2 games here. They pinch hit for their cleanup guy each game in the 6th inning. And look at Mike Yastrzemski in his previous 10 games. He has started in 7 different spots in the batting order. That's how the Giants do it. Interchangeable parts. It really works. And as Darren Ruff told me, we're all ready to go every night.
Yeah, the reason it really works, Eduardo, is because there's buy-in from everybody on the team. If you weren't buying in and you weren't winning, probably wouldn't be working so well.
Right, and you wouldn't be wearing that Giants uniform, because the way that Gabe Kapler has set up his team is to buy into this. We've seen veteran players from Buster Posey, who recently retired, Brandon Crawford. You look at Brandon Belt, same thing. They understand what it is to play for that man right there. Another thing that you have to look at today, early on, is Adam Wainwright and his ground ball rate. This team, the San Francisco Giants, their offense is designed to hit the ball in the air. We'll find out early if his sinker's working.
All right, so let's talk about the luxury of a catcher, and certainly one who's going into the Hall of Fame in Yadier Molina. They don't use pitch comm. It's fingers down. They communicate that way. They're obviously on the same page, given how long they've been together.
Well, that graphic tells it all right there. I mean, Spahn and Crandall, Faber and Schalk. I mean, you got to go back to the early 1900s for the third on that list. But yes, there's nuance to giving signals. Demonstrative signal calling. Give it to me in. You know, the fist pump, the way Molina gives the signals is more than just putting down fingers.
Behind Wainwright, it'll be Nolan Arenado at third, one of the best ever to do it. Edmundo Sosa's their shortstop. We'll talk about their shortstop situation. Tommy Edmonds, Gold Glover at second, Goldschmidt's at first. It's Jan Yepes in left, Bader in center, Dylan Carlson in right, and Wainwright set to go with a first pitch into Lamont Wade, called strike 1. So add 1 to the list of called strikes since the start of 2021. Wade's the right fielder. He's hitting .353 with an on base of .478. Got more walks than strikeouts. He swings and fouls that back, and he's behind 0-2.
Classic finesse versus power tonight on the mound.
Cardinals plate Wade straight up with Edman on the grass in shallow right. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 1 for Adam Wainwright as Mont Wade is retired.
You know, all the scouting reports you want, but when you see that curveball for the first time, it has a lot more bite than you're used to seeing from other curveballs in the league.
So the shortstop situation has been interesting. Paul DeYoung, of course, a couple years ago was a rising star in the organization. He's now at AAA. Edmundo Sosa's the shortstop. They got a prospect down in the minor leagues who could be their future second baseman, but he strikes out quite a bit as Brandon Belt swings and misses. They really don't want to move Edman, who's a Gold Glover, at second to short, even though he played short at AAA and in college at Stanford. So they're really hoping that Sosa is the guy that takes this and kind of goes with it. Belt steps into 62, 382. Then he rolls one over. Should be easy for Edman, who again about 7 feet deep on the grass in right. And a good start for Wainwright. That'll bring up Wilmer Flores. He is hitting third for the Giants tonight. He's the second baseman, 19 RBIs, 3 homers to start the year. The Giants' formula for success is fairly simple. We pitch by throwing strikes, and we don't swing at balls that aren't strikes. They do not chase. This is one of the better guys at making sure you're not swinging at balls outside the strike zone, behind 0-1. That's right back up here and just over our heads. 0-2. Arenado's become an offensive star, and we know what he does with his glove at third base. So the left side is Sosa and Arenado. This one towards the seats, going over Carlson, and he just can't get it. Dylan Carlson in right tonight. Adam Wainwright has thrown 8 pitches, Coney, and all of them are strikes.
That is the key. When you get towards the end of your career, you think you have to nibble around the edges and make perfect pitches. It's actually just the opposite. You need to throw more strikes and don't waste any pitches.
"107 wins for the Giants last year. The Cardinals had a terrific end of the year. Ended up with 90 and snuck in. That one misses, and Yachty wants to do baseball. It's warm tonight. You'll see Wainwright sweating a lot. 74 miles an hour on the curveball. Next pitch challenged him with a little heat there. A sinker at 91, and it goes to the seats.
I think the low 70s with the curveball and up to 91. That's pretty respectable if you think about the differential in velocities.
It's funny. He said coming off the COVID list for the second time. He had it in January the first time. He lost his sense of smell in January. He still doesn't have his sense of smell back. Bends one in there, and that sends Flores to the bench. I know what that smelled like. A really good top half of the first from Adam Wainwright. That include 2 strikeouts. We'll see the offense coming back for St. Louis after this.
Almost the end of the weekend, but not quite the end of the weekend. You got me feeling like it's Sunday. You got me feeling like it's Sunday.
Back on a Sunday night, David Cohn, Eduardo Perez, Carl Ravitch, Tim Kirkshin, Carlos Rodon set to go on the mound for Ollie Marmol. He will send out Tommy Edman, who's been terrific. The top 4 have become very reliable. Problem with the Cardinals, who are 20th in the majors to start the season with just 29 home runs, has really been what's happened from about 6 through 9. They're 12th in baseball in runs per game, and there's that number of home runs for Marmol. And here comes some cheddar from Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, a complete contrast in styles. Wainwright almost never throws a 4-seam fastball. Rodon lives off of them.
6 games started, 53 strikeouts, 7 runs. He has yet to allow a home run this season. Longoria is at third. It's Brandon Crawford at short. Flores at second. Belt at first with the first pitch. 95 miles an hour in there for a strike. Luis Gonzalez in left tonight. Mike Yastrzemski is in center. And Lamont Wade is in right field. On the ground, going to have to dive, and he will not leave his feet. Wilmer Flores and Edman aboard as he takes that Rodon offering into right.
Well, one thing the St. Louis Cardinals were preparing for was the fastball up in the zone. And you can tell Joey Bart behind the plate wanting the pitch up. Edman beating him to it, and he actually got on top of that baseball and is able to drill it on the ground to right field.
When it comes in so hard, if you make contact, there's a good chance it's going out pretty hard. That was 107 miles an hour off the bat from Tommy Edman, which brings up Paul Goldschmidt, the number 2 hitter, just south of 300 as far as his average goes. A terrific OPS plus of 145. That ball is hammered to left, and Goldie continues to haunt the Giants. Oh, to the third deck, just above Big Macland. Goldie's 4th of the year, and the Cardinals rip Rodon early. It is now 2-0. 405 feet on that shot.
Paul Goldschmidt, everybody knows he loves the pitch down. Bart again asking for the pitch up in the strike zone. Not down in the strike zone. He misses location. Game plan for the St. Louis Cardinals. Swing early and often. He's trying to get ahead. Pitch was down in that strike zone. Throws the bat head to it. 3 pitches in. Cardinals up 2.
Coming in the last 27 games against San Francisco, Goldschmidt had batted .330 with 7 homers. He adds 1, and here's Arenado. First pitch, take a little off of it. That's in there for strike 1.
It's remarkable to generate that much power with no stride. Just ground up leverage that Goldschmidt features in the swing.
Paul Goldschmidt, 3rd deck home run. Arenado, as Rodon has now gone back-to-back sliders to get ahead 0-2. I imagine that will set you back as a pitcher. And that happens that loud,
They can chase you out of the strike zone. I mean, the best laid plans, it's like the Mike Tyson line.
Guys, how about this? Last year, Nolan Arenado struggled against the fastball, right? And so far, he's seen 3 breaking pitches from Carlos Rodon, who has a very nasty, lively fastball to it. Joey Bart using everything. He's putting that mitt up, asking then as a deke for that breaking pitch down.
Well, Rodon's first home run allowed this season. What do you do when you're ahead of Arenado? On a couple of sliders, buried another one, and that time it's fouled into the dugout.
It's always the first inning for starting pitchers. And the reason being, you've got a new mound, you're setting up your alignment, you're digging out your holes on your rubber, you're trying to just get the rough edges worn off and find your bearings. And that's the best time to get a power pitcher that comes in smoking.
One of the things that we were told before the game about Rodon, because he's so in the zone and these hitters are so good, you tend to see the pitch count go up because there's a lot of foul balls, which is what we're seeing in this at bat from Arenado. Gabe Kapler said, you look up and he's at 95 and we're in the 5th, 6th inning and you got to bring him out. He said with his stuff, he's probably a guy that can go 7 or 8. I'd like to see that. But a rough start with a 2-run home run from Goldschmidt. 0-2 to Arenado again. Challenged him with some heat. This is right back up here again. And another foul ball for Nolan Arenado.
That's the first foul ball. That's the first fastball he sees. Look at the top left. It's the pitch sequence. All other pitches in the 80s, mid 80s. All of a sudden you get 97 cheese up the top of the zone.
He's fouled off 4.
That's what giving up a home run in the 3rd deck will do to you.
Right.
You start spinning the ball.
That ball is hammered to left field. Going over in the corners. Gonzalez just shy of the track. He's there to make the play. Arenado retired. A little more on Paul Goldschmidt, Timmy?
Yes, Ravi. So Rodon had not allowed a first pitch hit all season until Goldschmidt jumped the first pitch and hit the first homer of the year off Rodon. So just like Eddie said, that's what the Cardinals are doing, attacking early.
The guy that was known as Big Mac used to hit it up in Big Mac land. That was a shot from Goldschmidt. Here is Juan Yepes. He's the left fielder. Another guy with lightning in his bat. First pitch misses in. He threw him a slider to start. Yepes is a good story for the Cardinals. And as Gabe Kapler said, look, you don't have to see Juan Yepes very long to realize just how good his bat is. That Major League Baseball average of 100 for that OPS plus. He's 95% higher, and he's going to go the other way. Yepes will round and go back as Rodon tries to sneak in behind him. How about the Cardinals, though? 2 singles and a homer in their first 4 batters against Rodon.
Both singles on the ground the other way. This one was on a slider, not a fastball. Yepes doing a nice job of just slicing that just barely past Brandon Belt at first base, but a nice job by Lamont Wade Jr. to be able to get that ball into second base and keep Yepes at first for a double play possibility.
Looked like it hit the cutout a little bit and hydroplaned down the line. That sort of helped.
Both those singles, Edman and Yepes, just out of the reach of Wilmer Flores and now Brandon Belt. And here comes Albert Pujols. He gets the standing ovation as he comes back to St. Louis. Likely final year for both Pujols. Yadi Molina said the same. And he rips one down the line. Yepes steps on second. He goes to third. Pujols sees where the cutoff goes and he slides in safely. Carlos Rodon has to be wondering what in the world is going on. Pujols with a double down the line and left, his second of this season.
91.4 miles per hour off the bat. Hits it off the end of the bat. Might have broken the bat at that. Yet Albert, being a very smart base runner, sees where the throw is going to go, goes into second base, gets into scoring position for Yadi Molina.
Yesterday, Molina had a double high off the wall in right center, missed a homer by about a foot. The Giants have seen these 40-year-olds, Pujols and Molina, the last couple of days, each with extra base hits. Now Rodon, Molina, center fielder, jumping on the first pitch. They're going to wave Albert. Here he comes. Here's the throw. Albert is safe to second. Yachty out at second base, but he knocked in 2. And the Cardinals are up 4-0.
Was that a first pitch again?
Yes.
First pitch again. Common denominator, we've seen it so far early in this game. St. Louis Cardinals already posting 4 here in the bottom half of the first inning. Really good base running also by Yadi Molina. You don't know where Albert Pujols is in this situation with Yastrzemski throwing the ball in. Gets out of the gate, not in a hurry. But then once he sees the throw going through, decides to go to second and gets caught at second.
5 hits in the inning off Rodon, 3 of them on the first pitch. And there is a fastball as they reach Dylan Carlson here in the bottom of the first, the right fielder. You know, Molina started slowly. Spring training was a bit of a bumpy ride. He's declared he's going to get better quick, and he has shown that lately. 2 more RBIs, now 4 early in this season.
Seems like Rodon's got his formula backwards. The curveballs are up and the fastballs are down. He needs to reverse that in a hurry.
Cardinals had lost 5 of 6 into yesterday when they got a victory. Got a really good performance on the mound from Dakota Hudson. And the next one from Rodon's swing, and that's fouled right at the plate. If you're just tuning in, what a start for the Cardinals against one of the better pitchers in baseball so far this season. Tommy Edman led off with a single, and then Paul Goldschmidt a home run. Arenado flew out deep to left, and then a single, a double, and a single. All out. And Molina was out running to second base. Carlson 212 to start. He's got 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. He's one of the slow starters for them this year. That time he pulls it foul. Between Carlson, O'Neill, Bader, not off to a great start for St. Louis this season. But there are encouraging signs. I think if you look all around baseball, you know, we're starting to get our feet wet. Temperatures are going up. We're starting to see a little more offense from teams. A little more.
Seen a lot of action and a lot of balls in play here in the first inning.
That's a high one. He swings and misses, and Rodon will go back to the bench. He's got to be wondering, that game plan against me, jumped the first one, worked to perfection. Goldie with a homer. Wainwright's got a 4-0 lead, and we're through 1. Loud noise from Paul Goldschmidt, 4th home run of the year, 19 runs batted in. And the Cardinals give Adam Wainwright a nice cushion. So does it change anything about the way Wainwright approaches it? He threw 11 pitches in the first, and 10 of them were strikes.
Yeah, no, it's the same. So you just keep throwing your curveball for strikes. His cutter and sinker combination keeps the ball on the ground. Keep on keeping on.
Jock Peterson, Mike Yastrzemski, Evan Longoria. That's Wainwright's first pitch. That's another one in there for a strike. You're into strike percentage. Wainwright's in the A category so far tonight. Same defensive alignment with a lefty. Edman goes about 15 feet into right field off the grass. Misses, even though it looked like it may have caught a piece of the K zone to even it up 1-1. Boy, he was fooled there. 1-2. One of the heroes for the Braves postseason second half run last year on their way to the World Series, this guy. Power and pearls last year in the postseason for Peterson. That one is pulled foul. We were all about the pearl necklace last year.
I tell you what, it took off. It really did. The whole city got behind it.
I love when kids are wearing it. That's when you really know that you've captivated that audience.
You've connected.
Yeah.
If not TikTok, get the necklace going.
You know, you got to back it up too. You got to hit some homers.
That's
If
right.
you're going to wear a pearl necklace, you got to go deep.
That swing right there by Peterson tells it all. He's thinking soft, yet here comes a fastball down. It's the only reason he was able to catch up to it. It's because it was down. Waino will throw you that fastball, that curveball, and that changeup as well.
If there is a sun factor, it is in right field. That one just misses up. Look at Dylan Carlson. He's in the sun. So's Bader in center. And Edman is kind of just strapped on his sunglasses. It's just where that light stanchion shadow falls. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Bader going over towards right center, still running, and he's there to make the catch. As good as there is in baseball when it comes to outs above average, Harrison Bader runs it down.
And what a jump. You know, you talk about Harrison Bader, and you can ask Adam Wainwright or anyone. It's just how good he has been in center field. Been able to take some serious jumps off the baseball.
Get a good view of it up here. You can see him in that jump.
Kane, Kiermaier, Engel, Jackie Bradley Jr. by 7. Since 2018, Harrison Bader has been as good as there is in center field in Major League Baseball. The other center fielder, Mike Yastrzemski, first pitch. 88 miles an hour, top of the zone. 5 of 5 first pitch strikes for Adam Wainwright. Grandson of Carl Yastrzemski. That one misses away, and Yastrzemski's he's so indicative of the way that Farhan Zaidi and this front office have built this team. I mean, he was languishing in the Orioles system for a long time, and boy, did he have a breakout year last year. But you think about Yastrzemski and Lamont Wade, Darren Ruff. They get a lot of guys. Kevin Gossman. They get guys and they make them better.
Make them better with a combination of not only hitting philosophies, but training methods with high-speed pitching machines. We saw it before, using that defensively as well. Trying to speed up the hands and get geared up for game time.
2-1. Boy, a great curveball in there at 72 miles an hour from Adam Wainwright. Even it up 2-2. That says Edmundo Sosa back towards the shortstop side of second.
It's hard to throw a curveball that slowly with that much bite and that tight spin. That's the secret sauce with his Cooperstown curveball. Anybody can flip one up there at 72 miles an hour and it kind of rolls in there. His still snaps and bites. Hard to do at 72 miles an hour.
3-2. Ball down. Yeah, out he framed it. They didn't get it, and that's the first base runner tonight for the Giants on a walk. So second COVID IL for Wainwright. In the hotel where he was quarantining, he had a whole bag of things because of the first experience to keep himself training. Glove that he wore in his hand, he was throwing inside the hotel room. So he missed just one start. He comes back and said no symptoms, but you had to test out twice on back-to-back days.
Ball down.
But he comes back and he's ready to go, and he's looking for that low strike from Gibson and not getting it on back-to-back pitches behind 1-0 to Evan Longoria.
You know, part of the reason for that is he's got such solid mechanics and such a great understanding of his delivery.
This time the second baseman Edman shaded towards second, still on the second base side. And a called strike. Just underway on a Sunday night. Cardinals get 4 in the first. Paul Goldschmidt a 2-run home run. They jumped all over Carlos Rodon. This one is into right, playable. Now Carlson blocks the sun and then moves into the shade, and he makes the play. Saw a ball hit yesterday to center field off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt. Center fielder looked as if he had it the whole way, and he never had it, and it landed 2 feet away from him. Austin Slater, who had gone in for Yastrzemski, and that allowed Goldschmidt to reach base again. That was the 21st straight game he reached base safely. Now 22. That was one of the key plays in yesterday's game that the Cardinals won. Brandon Crawford, the shortstop. No shift. Down, ball 1.
No secret, Yadier Molina understands each hitter, looks at the numbers, very smart behind the plate. He knows Brandon Crawford last year, since last season, swung at 63% of fastballs inside. So if he's going to throw him a fastball, it's got to be off the plate or outside corner.
Interesting mix of young and old players on the Giants. The veterans who have bought into this whole concept of how often you're playing. Crawford's like the only guy who was routinely playing the same spot last year. He started 90 games. No one else started more than 90 games in one spot. Swing and a miss. 84-mile-an-hour changeup from Adam Wainwright. One ball, 2 strikes. Will Little at third said he did pull the trigger.
He's in trouble right now. And one of the big reasons, when you throw that pitch right there, that cutter up at 85 miles per hour, now you raise that eye level for a hitter. And what goes through Crawford's mind is you can't give up on the curveball that's going to come off from the same arm slot. But you have to respect the fact that he can elevate again with that fastball.
Yastrzemski on first. He's got some speed, not going here. There's that breaking pitch in there for a strike. He ends the first with a Wilmer Flores strikeout. He ends the second with a Brandon Crawford strikeout.
You called it, Eduardo. Right out of the sky. Drop it in there.
Welcome back. Next week, Sunday Night Baseball, we will be in New York, Yankee Stadium. The White Sox and Yankees finishing up their 3-game series. We'll have the call on ESPN. It's also available on ESPN Deportes and ESPN Radio. Our coverage starts 6 Eastern each and every Sunday. Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. Giant fan trying to do something to get this ship back on track. Rodon, look at that. First 6 starts, just 2 hits in the first inning. Tonight, 5. 2 of them for extra bases. They continue to jump on the first one as Bader sends that to center field. All right, we see the approach. First pitch, he's throwing a strike. We're swinging, right? I mean, that's clear.
Absolutely. The problem is Rodon hasn't really established that good high fastball with the jackrabbit in it. A little bit of life that we've talked about. That riding action, he really hasn't established it as of yet, Eduardo.
Yeah, he got lucky again. Pitch down in the zone. You said it earlier. If he has to be and is going to be effective with that heater, it has to be up.
And he's a traditionally get stronger as the game goes on guy, like velocity goes up. Edmundo Sosa now. First pitch misses badly at 76. Move Flores to the shortstop side a second as that one bounces in, and it's 2-0. Why do we paint Rodon in such bright colors to start this season? Well, obviously a new team, and you think about guys that have started with a new team, 50 strikeouts, 7 or fewer runs in their first 6 starts. Randy Johnson, Max Scherzer, Fernando Valenzuela. Like, that's the list that he was on, making an incredible impression in San Francisco in those first starts. 3-0 to the number 9 hitter. 4 went in there, 94. So he's usually 97, 98. I get it, 3-0, get me over here.
He has also talked about trying to build as he goes through the innings and throw harder later in games.
Into the seats here in St. Louis, or the Cardinals dugout. Now he's fought back 3-2 with Edman on deck.
You know, it's a nice plan, you know, if you're Carlos Rodon and you have a really great fastball, but you're not going to max effort it in the early innings, but then you give up 4 in the first. And now you're kind of in search mode.
You've got 1 strikeout. Hey! Ooh, he gets the call there. Edmundo not too sure, thought it was low, but Rodon picks up strikeout number 2.
And that kissed the inside corner of that plate.
All right, Coney, best pitches in baseball since 2021, that 4-seam fastball. Gossman's splitter, Corbin Burns, the Brewers, his cutter. That's by StatCast run value. And here are some of the other notes on the 4-seamer.
Yeah, the highest release point by a left-hander. We had Max Scherzer earlier this year from Citi Field, who had probably one of the lower release points and wider release points.
No.
It matters. That's how you get carry on your fastball when he's up in the zone.
Yeah, I do worry sometimes we confuse the non-StatCast oriented viewer when we say things like his ball rises, when in fact we're saying it just doesn't drop as quickly as others. It doesn't really rise. It has that, and you have a different sort of term you'd like to use. What do you call it?
Well, we used to, you know, his fastball has a little jackrabbit in it, a little life, a little jump right through the zone as it's up. And the key is the efficiency of the spin, which is directly correlated to his release point right over the top. So when you're throwing riding jackrabbit 4-seam fastballs, you don't want it to leak. You don't want it to tail. You want it to just stay right on plane, stay true, and have excellent carry, and then jump at the end.
0-2 to Edman. And Rodon delivers.
Hold up.
He got the low one against Sosa. He does not get the high one here against Edman.
You know, it's interesting. What you just mentioned right there is what I remember experiencing when Cliff Lee was on the mound. Over the top fastball, challenged you with it, and a lot of hitters would swing and miss through it. They're like, how did I chase that? How did I not hold back on it? It's because he had the effective life on it, that carry, plus the breaking pitch to go with it.
He got him, and he chased. That's 98. There's some of that velocity. I think Chris Young, 6'10", Kurt Schilling, a little jackrabbit to him.
Yes.
Back-to-back punch-outs from Rodon.
Gabe, how were the Cardinals so successful against Rodon in the first inning?
The first thing that comes to mind for me with Carlos is he's got about 31 pitches. Most of those are strikes. I think he's thrown 6 balls all day. For me, the process has been really good. This is a really deep Cardinals lineup. They've been good against lefties all year long. Sometimes you just tip your cap, and they've done a nice job so far first time through the lineup.
What about Wainwright? What have you seen so far?
Typical professionalism, dropping strikes in with his sinker and his cutter, and landing his curveball for strikes is going to be tough for us if he's able to do that all day.
Thank you, Gabe. Back to you.
Certainly are professionals when you talk about Wainwright and Molina. How about the contribution already too from Albert Pujols and Yachty offensively. Wainwright starts off Luis Gonzalez, the left fielder, with a breaking pitch. Gonzalez, the 8-hitter. He's the left fielder. Good start to the season at .339. Got a homer and 12 RBIs. He was a pitcher at the University of New Mexico. White Sox 3rd-round pick back in 2017. Really good against fastballs. A small sample size, hitting almost 500 against him this year. You generally won't see too many of those. Wainwright knows that. How about that, Uncle Charlie? So Chuck's in the building tonight. He's here.
Left them a couple tickets.
3 strikeouts for number 50, who was banging the drum at the St. Louis Blues playoff game. Their last win over, while to eliminate them, and the Blues move on in the NHL playoffs. On the ground, Wainwright hustles over. He'll get the flip from Goldschmidt.
Meet Ultimate Hybrid, advanced ceramic and wax technology. The best of both worlds, but better. Only from Mothers.
Brings up Joey Bart. He's the catcher. In a bit of a rough start for Bart offensively. He's doing a heck of a job catching this staff, but offensively, the number of strikeouts has been eye-opening. He's worked real hard on it, but this is the highest strikeout rate in baseball. He's 2 for his last 20 with 11 Ks. 171 at bat, 77 strikeouts.
Ball out.
The Giants have made no indication at all that they're going to be impatient with Joey Bart. This is their guy right now.
Well, they love how he does the pitch calling of the game, how he's able to block and really lead behind the plate. Now, the big question is, will he be able to hit at this level? And the only way to find out is by continuing to putting him out there.
Casale's their other catcher, and he's actually been hitting the ball quite well. It's a little inside. Well, Bart's experience with other catchers the last couple of weeks, so they have the big Posey kind of retirement party in San Francisco, and now you're on a field and you're looking at one of the greatest to ever do it behind the plate in Molina.
A lot of people felt Posey had something left in the tank too. I mean, he's a great player, played very well last year, but only he knows. There's a lot of issues go into it, Eduardo. Your family life, how his body feels behind the plate. Catchers take a beating back there. That's why Molina is so remarkable all these years, still doing it at a high level.
2-2.
Ball out.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Back to the top of the order if Bart's able to get on.
It's not a surprise that Molina's a holdout on the pitch comm, right? I mean, if you had to make a list of guys, you know, this guy's not going to like this pitch comm thing, he'd be at the top of the list. Look at the eye contact he's making with Wainwright and the way he calls signs.
Ball up.
That one misses. Good at bat, Joey Bart. Hey, the Phillies, we showed you on Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown, were trying to sweep the Dodgers. Doesn't happen. Phillies had a 4-0 lead. It's 4-3 first and third, and Gavin Lux, who made an error earlier in the game that cost him some runs, is able to plate a couple. The Dodgers come back after the Phillies and Nola blew a 4-0 lead, and all with 2 outs. Bellinger had a triple, Taylor had a walk, and then Lux 2 RBI double. Elsewhere, about the Angels, what a start they're off to, 24-13. Cubs get a win over the D-backs by a score of 3-2.
Man, the Phillies lose another tough one in the last inning.
Bryce Harper's story is no surgery. They found a small tear in the elbow, but they're going to give some PRP, a platelet injection. Probably going to miss the next couple of games, but hope that he's going to be able to eventually get back into the field. Comeuppance for the Dodgers, who were getting off to such a great start, and the Phillies, who needed to go out and show the world this offense that Dave Dombrowski put together is worthy of an NL East contender status. Wainwright off the walk to Bart, now behind Wade, 2-0. 2-1.
Big pitch right here for Waino. He's trying to get Wade here to hit the ball on the ground. He knows his defense is elite in the infield. They can turn it quickly. Now it's the ability to try to get Wade to pound it down.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
No, it's more about defensive positioning now, but both of these teams are two teams that shift the least amount in the big leagues this year, surprisingly so. And you quantify a shift by three infielders on one side of the base or not. But
Two to Wade. One just missed up. Wainwright gives a look into Greg Gibson, but he did not get it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, you're right, because so much of the Giants' approach is rooted in numbers. Clearly, the numbers are telling them we're not going to shift here. But you'd think, given where we are with this team and this organization, that would be part of their approach.
Yeah, Cardinals, it's not surprising. Giants,
Right.
yes.
Called strike 3. Didn't get the fastball, got the breaking ball, and Lamont Wade has got a terrific eye at the plate. Doesn't agree with that call, but it's a punch out for Wainwright, and it's his 4th.
Yeah, this pitch starts off the plate for Lamont Wade. He gives up on it. Look how Molina brings it back. And again, that pitch did not look like it was a strike, yet gets the call from Greg Gibson.
Well, you notice the RPMs, and that's the spin rate and the axis of spin. Well above average. At 40 years old, still has elite spin on his curveball, which explains why it's still sharp.
Brad Belt swings the first one and misses. And a unique batting stance for Belt, like a golfer, and I know we do a lot of golf baseball comparisons. We're going to talk about Arenado and the connection to golf and what Belt turns his back. You see the entire number 9 in an effort in a golf world to generate all sorts of torque. Is that what he's doing?
That's what he's attempting to do. The thing is that one has to be careful with it, because then you could have the potential of spinning off the baseball. What I mean by that, not keeping the bat head in the zone long enough to be able to create a lot of damage. But he's been able to consistently do this for the last couple years.
He's been one of the more effective OPS guys in baseball over the last couple of years. Brandon Belt's career is an interesting one because it really arced late. You know, power came late.
Could not agree more. I think he's very underrated.
Yeah.
His production, his value to the Giant lineup.
One ball, 2 strikes. Wainwright 4 strikeouts already,
Over,
and
no.
that one's in the dirt, blocked by Molina. Go back to that strikeout of Wade. It was interesting. We had a really good look at it. Molina didn't blink. There was just nothing that moved when that curveball came into his glove. It's a great look at his eyes. I know it slid the glove, but boy, there's such little body movement or anything.
But he let it get deep.
Yeah.
Did not extend his arm at all. Let the ball travel. Try to confuse Greg Gibson behind the plate, and he was successful at it.
2-2. Belt, Bader. Easy play. Wainwright gives up a walk, but that's it. They will strand 1. Bottom 3 coming up. St. Louis 4, San Francisco nothing.
Ollie, what was the plan against Rodon in the first inning?
We know this guy has a good fastball, and he establishes it early. He goes to it often. We were going to be on top of that and make him change his game plan early in this game.
What have you seen from Waino so far?
Waino's doing a nice job. He's establishing his fastball. He's using it effectively. He's got a good mix going. Anytime he's got a feel for that breaking ball, it's a tough at-bat for the other side.
Thank you, Ollie. Back to you.
All right, Tim, thank you. The Arch here in St. Louis. Gateway to the West. And so far tonight, all Cardinals leading 4-zip. Bottom 3 back to Goldschmidt, who had that big home run in the first. Throws him a slider to start to get ahead. Goldschmidt, of course, was traded from the Diamondbacks here to St. Louis for Carson Kelly and Luke Weaver. He signed a 6-year extension before the 2019 season. That's a good fastball, 96.
So they come right back with it up. Anything down, Goldie's going to hit again.
2013, finished second to Andrew McCutchen, the league's MVP. Playable, coming hard is Lamont Wade, still coming, dives, can't get it. Goldschmidt to second, and he's there. Boy, I don't think Lamont Wade got a good read on that at all, and he didn't get much help from Flores, the second baseman. That was up there for a while, and Wade could not get there.
And when things are going well, they really are. Goldie, see Lamont, when the camera got to him, he was still flat-footed. Did not get a good read at all. Coming in as hard as he could. Great attempt. yet hits off the heel of his glove and isn't able to make the play. Goldie ends up at second.
Official score says double for Goldschmidt, so he's got a homer and a double. And here's Arenado, hit it hard, but he flew out to left his first time up, just shy of the warning track. Rodon, slider up, called strike one. So here's your point again, Coney. The slider's way up. That last fastball he threw at 96 by Goldie was center cut.
Yeah, we've seen him just own the top of the strike zone early in the season this year. Even though he's throwing a lot of strikes, not a high amount of quality strikes. You know, the days of the 90s, you know, the Greg Maddux era, where you saw catchers move east and west and set up off the plate, are kind of over. They want their catchers setting up down the middle now, especially with power guys like Carlos Rodon. Don't waste any pitches, throw a lot of strikes. We heard Gabe Kapler talk about the process.
That's a good one, 96. So set up down the middle, and I'll follow where the ball goes. I'm not going to set up where I want the ball to go. I'm going to set up in the middle and then go chase it.
Absolutely, and it's to me, it's sort of indicative of the strike zone being more north and south nowadays, as opposed to east and west in the 90s. Almost back to like Jim Palmer in the 70s when the strike zone was up and down more.
Ahead in the count, 1-2. Goldschmidt at second. Arenado, another one sky high towards the seats in left. Luis Gonzalez giving chase, calling for it, and Gonzalez makes a great sliding catch. Not an easy play on the dirt cutout. He and Crawford were there, and Gonzalez went into a slide to make the play.
And as he's coming in hard, great communication between him and Brandon Crawford, who was also going after that baseball. Watch right here from the high home angle. Gonzalez gets a good jump on it. He's coming in right there. He calls it, and Brandon Crawford just gets out of the way. Great communication.
One of the things with analytics in today's game, modern defensive strategy has outfielders playing much deeper nowadays, almost 10 feet deeper, and you see those kind of plays, a lot of room to cover.
Juan Yepez, first one, 97, misses away. Now we saw both Wade, who didn't get to one, and there Gonzalez run a long way to get towards that baseball. It's a bad miss there at 85. The slider that didn't. And behind 2-0 to Yepez, the cleanup hitter. So Yepez had a terrific spring, and then all of a sudden, after a phone call between Yadi Molina and Albert Pujols, and then Albert Pujols and Oli Marmol, and then Oli Marmol and John Mozeliak, they said 5 wants back, meaning Albert Pujols wants back. And ultimately, it cost Yepez a spot on the team. He didn't have a place. He's the right-handed hitter, but they loved everything he did. And even with Albert here now, Yepez is a fixture in this lineup, and likely will be for a long time. They love his bat to ball skill. Ball.
That was a good pitch.
Sure was. And Rodon's looking into it, Greg Gibson. So this is one of those games where both pitchers have kind of questioned where the strike zone is early.
I think it was also not being able to catch it from Joey Bart where he dropped it.
Umpires have never been more scrutinized than in today's game. That ball was 1 inch outside.
Ball in.
That one's inside. That's a walk to Yepez.
That was the old Doug Harvey line. Famous umpire, legendary umpire. Son, that ball was 1 inch outside.
Then you would have Durwood Merrill say that was a Hall of Fame pitch, son.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, but it's not a Hall of Famer up there.
Here's Albert. He doubled his first time up, scored a run.
This is a Hall of Famer.
First ballot Hall of Famer Albert Pujols, back here in St. Louis, where he was a legend and still is. Classic story about Pujols and Oli Marmol. We'll tell you as he fouls this one into the seat. So Marmol comes, of course, to manage the Cardinals, and he doesn't have a place to live. So he reaches out to Pujols, who's not with the Cardinals, and Albert says, well, why don't you rent my place? Just go live at my house. And then Albert comes back to the Cardinals. And Ollie says, well, you should take your house back. I mean, I'll find another place. And Albert said, don't you worry about it. I mean, Ollie, his wife, have 2 kids. So Albert is renting a place while Ollie's occupying Pujols' home. A single that brings in a run, throw to third. Yepes is out there, but Albert Pujols drives in Paul Goldschmidt to make it 5-0.
Great piece of hitting by Albert again, staying up the middle, understanding how to drive runs in. What I did not like was the base running at all by Yepes. You're your own coach right there. You have to understand who the base runner is in front of you. And once this contact is made and you also have to read where the outfielder is, there's no chance for Yastrzemski to get Goldschmidt at home. He should have stayed at second, giving away another out on the bases for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The 7 hits that Rodon has allowed is a season high tonight. And here's Molina. That's hard on the ground, staying down on it. It's Longoria, and he'll flip to get Pujols at second. But another run for the Cardinals. Another hit for Albert Pujols. Got a double and a single. Goldschmidt a homer and a double. And Harrison Bader's getting a microphone and an earpiece in for us on Sunday. Welcome back, everyone. Sunday Night Baseball. Carl Ravitch, David Cohn, Eduardo Perez, and now the 4th member of our crew is Harrison Bader out there in center field. How you doing, Bader?
We're doing good. We're in a good position so far. All is good. How y'all doing up there?
We're doing great. Bader, what's it like? You got Pujols, you got Molina, you got Wainwright. I mean, what is this like for a baseball kid like you?
You know, I got to tell you, I've been playing with Yadi and Waino for a while. Like 5, 6 seasons now. So we got a little history, but when Albert came in, you know, his personality and everything,
yep,
made me feel like I've been playing with him for 10 years. So it's amazing, and I'm soaking it up.
All right, here's Wilmer Flores, first pitch. What's it like watching this game from Wainwright?
The biggest thing with Waino is just watching his ball, you know, how it moves, his changing speeds and everything. So I just got to be on top of my game every pitch to make sure I'm in the right spot. And as we can see so far, he's got a lot of pitches working, which is good.
Yeah, he does. Is that you whistling? Is that an attempt at whistling? Is that what that is?
It's like, it's not a whistle. I can't whistle. It's more of like a, I don't know what you call it, but it kind of cuts through the air. Dexter Fowler taught me that when I was a rookie, 2018. Get it! Hello, baby. Hello, boy.
All right, give me the view off the bat. What'd you think?
Keep calling it. Keep calling it. Keep calling that. Keep calling that all the way. Appreciate it, baby.
Off the bat, what'd you think right there?
I mean, I could have caught it, but I got to know my off outfielder, you know? And I don't really play him as pull as I maybe should have, so that was good. Part of the plays is like knowing which balls not to go after, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get so locked in on the pitch and the ball and the guy sometimes is camped, so you got to make sure that you know where your off outfielders are at all times. That's why I whistle, so I know where we're positioned at.
Ball down. Here's Jock Peterson. All right, so everybody's told me if we're going to have Harrison Bader, we gotta ask him about his hair. Like, is that something that everybody always focuses on?
Yeah, it is.
And you're good with that.
Sometimes when I want to go incognito, I put it up in a bun, and I can walk around St. Louis in some peace, and no one knows what I'm doing.
As soon as you let that out, everyone knows.
Yeah, it's like they get a newsletter on their phone.
Well, what
it's the weirdest thing. It's like an Amber Alert. Bader's hair is down. I'm just kidding.
What's it like to be a ball player in St. Louis?
I mean, listen, you know, we got no NBA. We got no NFL anymore, obviously, with the Rams leaving. So it's just NHL and baseball. Now we got a soccer team. So ain't much to focus on besides baseball and hockey from a sports perspective. So, you know, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest sports city I've ever been in. I mean, obviously being born and raised in New York, there's a lot of history there, but, you know, I can't imagine any city being better than St. Louis for the fans' love and support.
2-2 to Peterson, and an easy one for Edmond.
We got two.
Goldschmidt goes down and gets it. Anything for Bader here, Coney?
Have you ever seen any player booed here at all? It's speaking to that point. I mean, I've never heard of any players, Cardinals players, getting booed here. And that's the kind of support I guess you're referring to.
Yeah, I mean, whenever Albert would come into town when he was on the Angels, I mean, they'd be cheering his entire at-bat, and then he did a home run off of us, and they'd still be cheering as if they wanted a curtain call. And when the opposing team hits a home run against you and you're still getting some love, that's when you know it's a good city.
Mike Yastrzemski up, strike one. Give me a thought on the glove here, the color. We had a little issue earlier in this series with the glove and one of the pitchers. It was multicolored. What's up with the glove color tonight?
Yeah, thankfully I'm not on the mound, so this color goes. This color plays. But this is my my oxidized copper Statue of Liberty glove I told you I'm breaking in for this series. I'm gonna use it for the rest of the year because I made a diving attempt first game of this series and hit off the edge of my glove, and we can't have that anymore. So this one's a little more stiff, and yeah, we're just gonna rock with this one.
All right, so seriously, so that's it. I saw that play. It was an unbelievable effort, but it went off the tip, so that's get rid of the glove?
Yeah, the glove is gone. Put it on the mantle. I enjoyed it. It's a good color scheme.
Was that the glove you won the Gold Glove with? I mean,
that was not. No,
okay.
That was not. That one's actually frozen in a chamber somewhere. That
wait.
I'm gonna when I retire, I'm gonna have all my stuff in there. So it's very deep underground in New York where no one can touch it.
So this is, what did it feel like to be now known as Gold Glover Harrison Bader?
That still gives me chills, man. It's something I've wanted for a long time. It's I've said this a lot of times in interviews. In baseball, there are so many things you can't control from making a good swing, someone catches it, to what pitch is being thrown, all those things. But on defense, I think there are so many controllable factors. How hard you work at it, where you position yourself, your attention when you're watching the game, all these things. So if I could be as good at those things as possible, then I'm gonna try to be a Gold Glover out there. So it's a good one. The next one, I want to get a Silver Slugger, so we got some work to do with that.
I can see that hair bouncing. You're coming up. It's up to you if you want to keep that mic on. That was the first 1, 2, 3 inning I think we've had with a guy with an earpiece.
I'll keep the mic on for you guys.
All right, bud.
I'll talk to y'all.
Talk to you. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Our telecast presented by Taco Bell. St. Louis, Missouri, 7:18 local time in the Arch. Eduardo, a momentous occasion underneath the Arch, huh?
Yeah, I proposed to my wife underneath the Arch September 1st. She got the call up. Never looked back.
It wasn't like September 1st last year. I mean,
September 1st of the year 2000.
Oh boy. All right, Rodon back on the mound. One thing about Carlos tonight, he allowed 7 runs in 6 starts coming in. And he finds himself in a 5-0 hole in the bottom of the 4th. Carlson, then Bader, and this one is looped into left, shallow, and that is going to drop in front of the left fielder Luis Gonzalez. Harrison Bader comes to the plate. The earpiece is out. He will put the earpiece back in. It's a great line he had about the Amber Alert when his hair is down. But a lot of guys have great flow. Crawford, Clevenger, Jonathan India is right there, another former Florida Gator. Dustin May goes all red on us. Chris Paddock, Bo Bichette. But I mean, Syndergaard, like the list can go forever. Third time the leadoff man is on. A little chin music there from Rodon to Bader. Any thoughts on the hair list?
It's almost like if you squint, it's like 1977, right? Like Mark Fidrich.
Yeah, the bird.
Little Robin Yount right there from behind back in the day.
Dennis Eckersley could let it eat. Just down, so 2 balls and no strikes.
I remember sporting a mullet back in mid-'80s.
Yep.
Blow dry in the back, put my baseball hat on, and had the blow dryer in the back to try to fluff it up.
While the hat was on?
Yeah.
Come on.
Try to fluff it up in the back.
You mean you'd put the hat on, then blow dry
then
the
blow
rest?
dry the hat. Then blow dry the hair in the back. Double A, Memphis, 1985.
Ravi, I asked Bader a few years ago, who's got the best hair in baseball? He goes, I do, of course. And then I said, who's got the best bling in baseball? He goes, I do, of course. Ask him about that next inning. He loves to talk about some of the clothes he wears. Adam Wainwright makes fun of him, but he is one well-dressed young man.
All right, that's on the list. 2-1 swing, and he fouls it straight back. We've known Bader a long time. He was a teammate in college of Pete Alonso. They still remain very good friends. And he grew up in New York, as he said, and it took a while for Florida to catch on, and finally they came after him, and that was a match made in heaven with Kevin O'Sullivan there and Alonso. That team was a formidable group. Omaha. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rodon ready. Good cut at it. We are so close to it. You guys played it. Been doing this for so long, but he's standing in there facing 97. Just think about the small amount of people on this planet that do that.
It's a great point. It's never been harder to do that either. I mean, pitching has never been better. The velocity.
Challenged him on the ground. He can fly. Should be a tough turn. They throw it, and he's able to beat it out. As good a sprint speed as there is in baseball, and he hit that ball hard to third.
Yeah, those are the tough ones to get out of the box because it's cutting in on the hands. And once he makes contact, he's falling back a little bit. That left leg, then he has to balance before he even takes off from the plate. But speed takes over right there. Good attempt as you see that left leg bouncing back, goes through the base hard to at least keep this inning just with 1 out for the Cardinals.
So here's something to keep an eye on. You got Bader with great speed and 7 steals, and the last 22 stolen base attempts against Rodon have been successful. Mundo Sosa. Late on that one. 96. It was by him when he swung, and the count goes 1-1. Talk about speed at the bottom of the lineup. Bader can fly. This guy's 98th percentile sprint speed this season. Sosa. He goes. Bader on the way. Swing and a miss. Throw down. He stole it easy. The last 23 attempts against Rodon have been successful, and Bader into scoring position with his 8th steal of the year.
Don't forget, taking the helmet off then to make sure the hair looks as good as Coney's did when he used to blow dry it. Good jump. Joey Bart, no chance right here on the bounce. Harrison steals this one off Carlos Rodon.
So that?
Look at the flow.
Rodon, 57 pitches, down 5-0. He looked back to second to send Bader back. They jumped all over Carlos Rodon in the first inning. 4 runs, a single, a homer from Goldschmidt, a single, a double from Pujols, and then Yadi Molina knocked them both in with a single. And that's going into the seats here in St. Louis. About 44,000 last night on hand. Another big crowd. Amazing. We had so many people come up and just talk about, like, you are born into Cardinal Nation. You've had so many teammates and buddies that played here and lived here. You know what this is like. This is unique here.
This is what is expected out of a St. Louis Cardinal fan here in St. Louis. You dress red, white, or baby blue. Game day.
Diehards. I used to come in here with the Mets back in the late 80s. And They referred to us as pond scum. There was quite a rivalry, especially when Keith Hernandez came from the Cardinals.
Right.
And went to the Mets.
Oh, you were at Old Bush when it was turf.
Yes.
It was hot in the summers here.
And those teams could fly. Hanscom doesn't run as quickly as some of those Cardinals teams, does it?
Does not.
1-2, liner. Bader steps on third. He's waved. Throw home. Not even close. No throw at all as Bader steps on without sliding. And how about Edmundo Sosa delivering an RBI? It's 6-0 St. Louis. Who saw this coming?
You know, so far, one thing that I've noticed in a hitter standpoint is the slider really does not have enough bite. It's catching way too much of the zone. The hitters are looking up, and they're still being able to adjust because it's just tumbling in. You didn't see the tight spin at all right there on that slider. Edmundo hits it out front, keeps it away from Crawford's, ends up scoring Bader with his speed. Easy run.
It's the difference between throwing strikes and throwing quality strikes. That's really the story for Carlos Rodon tonight.
And now Tommy Edman with one down. That one misses. It's just very atypical for Rodon so far this season. Missing with the fastball, sliders flat. Goldschmidt jumped him. They had an approach to jump that fastball early, and they did, and it knocked him off. You got to start to think, if you're Gabe Kapler, given Rodon and you're concerned about innings, etc., how long do you leave him in a game at 6-0?
Biggest concern here, he's thrown 15 sliders so far. Only 2 swings and misses on the slider.
A lot of play, a lot of foul balls too. Here's Bader running around the bases.
If I could run like that, I'd be saying yeah too.
1-2, misses up. 2-2. He was basically a baseball player and a skier growing up in New York. He thought about football. Mom said that's not happening. And he focused on baseball.
See Edman peeking over to Longoria to see how far he is at third, even on a 2-2 count.
The pregame conversation with Gabe was telling about the foul balls. Boy, they have made a living staying alive, fouling balls off Rodon in a game in which it was, let's say, 1 or 2-0. That would be a significant difference to get him out of the game.
But to your point, 18 of those 65 pitches have been fouled off.
Edman, the son of a baseball coach, an athletic family. His dad was at Williams College in Massachusetts for 4 years. Now the varsity baseball coach at La Jolla Country Day in San Diego, Edman's alma mater. His brother works in baseball research and development for the Twins. His sister Elise played volleyball at Davidson and now works in the Cardinals front office, the player development system. And this is to Belt, and he will catch it, and then look out, bang right into Mundo Sosa at first. Here comes Goldschmidt, and this is what he did in the first inning.
That'd be mislocation. That's the sound that comes off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt. 2-run home run, 109.1 miles per hour. So far, Carlos Rodon has allowed 3 well-hit balls, where last season it was only 3 well-hit all season.
He allowed 3 well-hit balls all year.
Equal the most well-hit balls through the first 3 innings. The first 3 innings of a game.
Right, okay. Goldie was an 8th-round pick out of Texas State University back in '09 of the Diamondbacks. He looks at one high and away. Rodon hopping because he just doesn't have it tonight. Back in high school at the Woodlands, he was a teammate of Kyle Drabeck. won the National High School Championship.
The thing I noticed, Eduardo, I'll defer to you on this, but we've talked about Goldschmidt and his style and the no stride, but his wrist and the lag he gets in his swing is tremendous. That stored power. Just by the way he starts his swing, look how loose his bat is. The barrel almost points to the ground.
His wrists are bigger than Tim's ankles. That's how big they are.
And that one is to right, and that's heading down towards the line, and it gets down. Mentioned Sosa's speed. He's a third. He's being waved. Here he comes. Here's the throw. Diving in safely. Goldschmidt, another hit, another RBI. 7-0 Cardinals, and get a clock on Edmundo Sosa and his sprint from first.
Talk about being aggressive. The secondary lead of Edmundo Sosa on this one, and recognizing as soon as he saw the ball was going to fall, I am scoring. Pop Warner, give him a lot of credit. Ball gets in on Goldie and still keeps it fair, but you see Edmundo right there. He recognizes it's going to fall. Pop Warner, the third base coach, again being aggressive, waving Edmundo Sosa and forcing the infielders, the cutoff men, to make a perfect throw, moving his feet. They do not, and that's the end of the night for Carlos Rodon.
With 2 outs in the 4th inning, one of the best pitchers in baseball so far in 2022 has one of the worst nights for a starter. 3 2/3. His 7 runs allowed matches the amount he'd allowed in his prior 6 starts. Zach Littell coming in, all Cardinals. Bader with the earpiece and microphone continues when we come back on Sunday Night Baseball. All St. Louis tonight, leading 7-zip. Zach Littell, 11 games he has been in. He's just off the COVID IL. He has appeared in a handful of games against the Cardinals already. He gets Arenado with Goldschmidt at second, and the first pitch misses away. Zach Littell will throw a 4-seamer. He'll throw a slider and a splitter. He pitched on the 13th here against St. Louis in an inning of work, gave up a couple of hits and an earned run through 23 pitches. But Rodon, 10 hits allowed, 3rd most ever in a start. Arenado left field towards the pole. Later, home run, Nolan Arenado, his 8th of the year. Littell, first batter he faces, gone. And the Cardinals tack on a couple more. It's 9-0.
Seen a lot of hanging sliders today from the Giants to the Cardinals, and Nolan Arenado, who has been getting a heavy dose of sliders from Carlos Rodon from the left side, this time sees one from the right side. See it right there tumbling. Joey Bart wanting that pitch down and away instead. Nolan. The sound says it all.
Well, I know a lot of hitting philosophies are stay up the middle, but pulled fly balls work, especially on hangers.
Arenado joins the hit parade. Juan Yepez foul into the seats. Home run for Arenado and a couple of RBIs. He now has 29 runs batted in this season. We start at the top of the telecast how Goldschmidt and Arenado have historically, because of their playing days in Colorado and Arizona, killed the Giants. And Goldschmidt is 3 for 3 with a homer and 2 doubles, and now Arenado gets into the act with a long ball. Yepez to left center. That's deep, just at the track, stopping and making the play is Luis Gonzalez. Feels a little bit like batting practice if you're the Cardinals, and it's not a good feeling if you're the Giants. Goldie and Arenado tag teaming it big time right now in a 9-0 lead through 4. Giants still looking for their first hit. Cardinals got plenty of those, 11, including a couple of bombs, 1 from Goldie, 1 from Arenado. Now, we started the night talking about the Cardinals and their pitching, and they're putting a show on. MLB The Show 22 is available now on PlayStation consoles, Xbox consoles, and for the first time, the Nintendo Switch system, rated E for everyone. The pitching of Wainwright has been outstanding. We talked a lot about what Rodon was going to do, but it's been Wainwright who hasn't given up a hit yet. Hey, download the MLB app to get video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your favorite team and the rest of the league. Not sure Arenado knew he got that last ball enough to get it over the wall, but it went. Part of that's all about what he's done to change his entire body and new bat, etc. He goes deep. Bader is not apparently wearing the earpiece, but he does still have a microphone on.
I don't got the earpiece in anymore, but talking to myself in this microphone, Tim told me that I had the best bling in baseball, or allegedly I said I had the best bling in baseball. I want to just make sure he knows bling means like jewelry and fancy, you know, fancy jewelry. So I don't know if I said that. I think what he may have thought I meant was I'm among the best dressed in baseball, which, I mean, that goes without saying. Can see my Instagram at @ABayBader. Take a look, gander through my profile, come up with your own assumptions and conclusions. But, you know, Tim, for the most part, I mean, I got a pretty good bling collection, and I know damn well I'm one of the best dressed. So, yeah, Tim wanted me to answer that question, so I'll do it.
All right, here's the first swing of the inning, and it's a line shot to right off the bat of Evan Longoria. So I think to help people out, so Bader went out to center field and talked to himself, which was talking to all of us, without an earpiece in, but was answering a question that Tim had prompted him on. And he went for a while.
That was a very complete answer, absolutely. Sneakerhead, definitely got a sneaker collection. You know he does.
He's very much aware of how to handle the media.
Ravi, I'm so old and so uncool, I'm not even sure what bling means. All I know is that when I asked Harrison Bader that a few years ago, he said he had the best bling. He is really a cool dressed guy. He wears t-shirts that it costs like $800. He's really into that. And Adam Wainwright says, I don't even understand what he's doing with those clothing. He thinks he looks great. I'm not so sure. But as Bader said, he's a really well-dressed guy.
No, he plays with some confidence, no doubt about it. And Wainwright's closer in age to you and me and Tony and Eddie than he is Bader. So it's a little different for Waino, who, by the way, is now 4 2/3 and hasn't given up a hit. He's got 5 strikeouts just off the COVID IL, missed the start, and in this inning so far very economical. 4 pitches and 2 outs. The last one to Harrison Bader. Luis Gonzalez now up, and there you go. Wainwright hangs his head. It goes right between Arenado and Sosa, and the first hit for the Giants. And listen to this crowd here. They're aware of what that was. Spikes the ball, and he gets a new one. I didn't want one that just gave up a hit like Bader gave up the glove that couldn't make a play on. Wainwright threw that ball out. So Gonzalez aboard. Did you see the Pirates-Reds game tonight?
How about that? Great outing by Hunter Green.
Didn't give up a hit. Pirates did not get a hit and won the game 1-0.
Walked 5 in that game.
And a little bleeder here. Going back is Goldschmidt. Tough basket play. Oh, what a play by Goldschmidt. He's doing everything tonight. Homer, couple doubles, and a Willie Mays-like basket catch over the shoulder.
Well, first letters of his name says it all. Goldie making Gold Glove catches.
Eddie touched on it going to break. Gold in Goldschmidt's name. He's got, of course, 4 Gold Gloves. Arenado's got 9 of them. Edmonds starting to pile a few up. Bader. Great play by Paul Goldschmidt. And a night to celebrate here in St. Louis. 9-0 fifth inning. Littell back on the mound. He gets Albert Pujols. Remember, if Wainwright and Molina get a win, be their record-setting 203rd victory as a battery, meaning pitcher-catcher. That's fitting in their likely final years, right?
Absolutely. Still doing it at a high level.
A very high level. Gave up 1 hit so far. He's pitched tremendous this year. And Albert will send one into the seats. Now, foul ball is a little more valuable when it comes off the bat of a Hall of Famer. You know, I know it's not a home run ball, but it's a foul ball off the bat of Pujols.
I'd say yes. Absolutely.
I agree. I'll tell you what, this at-bat, even though it's 9-0, Albert gets to have an at-bat against a righty pitcher. I think these are big. Later down the road, it'll pay dividends. Again, and sometimes you need to face the righty to balance yourself off again. So when that lefty comes up in a big situation, you'll be ready to go.
Camera phones at the ready. Albert swings and fouls that straight back. So I don't know if I finished the story, but yeah, so Albert is renting his house to Ali Marmol while he lives in a penthouse in one of the hotels, condos down here in downtown St. Louis. But it's kind of an uncomfortable, I would think, the potential uncomfortable conversation when you're renting the guy's home and you got to say, hey, we're going to pinch hit for you here. I know you're a Hall of Famer. I know, but you're living in my house.
Well, raise the rent.
Awkward.
Every time you hit for me, just raise the rent.
And the funniest part was Albert said to Ollie, well, why don't you buy the house? Ollie's like, we have different budgets. He's been on base 3 times after a walk. He's got a double single, and now the walk ahead of Yadi Molina. Cardinals continue to be aggressive in a 9-0 game. You get a lot of these games, but I got to believe you're on the right side of this score. These are nice. You kind of need a breather given the shortened schedule and how many days you're playing, and some days you're double headers to make up for the missed couple of weeks at the beginning of the season. Yachty left field. Goodwood back and gone. Molina into the seats over the bullpen. Have a night, Yachty Molina. The veterans for the Cardinals are carrying them. 11-0 on Yachty's second of the year.
2 hits for Albert, 2 for Yachty, and this one's the big blast right here. 80 years combined. Rounding the bases, taking 3 left turns, saluting the fans, doing their embrace, Albert and Yachty. With Waino throwing a 1-hitter. Yahtzee right there, pitch up in the zone. Yachty doesn't miss it. The Puerto Rican flag in the background. This ball's gone.
It's like old timers day here.
It sure is, and they're playing like young guys. 107 miles an hour off the bat. Crowd wants to give him a call, and there he is, top of the dugout. He waves back to him. What a moment, too, seeing the 2 Hall of Famers embrace. Yes, Yachty's going to be a Hall of Famer, and we know Pujols is. After that homer, that was a great moment. After he stepped on home, and it was Pujols there to greet him. And to your point, he doesn't bat a lot against righties, and he was in against the righty and drew the walk.
Drew the walk, slammed the bat down. And a couple weeks ago, I ran into him in Miami at the ballpark, and he said, look, man, I've hit a lot of home runs against right-handed pitching. I can still do it. I just need the opportunity, but I get it. Any which way to help out the team win. There it is right there.
It's a really cool moment, Tim. We're watching the hug and the embrace as they look each other in the eye. Big smile from both of them.
And Ravi, it's pretty amazing that 3 of the 5 oldest players in baseball are in this game tonight.
Those 2 guys right there, they run that clubhouse.
For sure.
If you're a young manager trying to establish yourself, you're thankful for that.
Not only that, how cool is it that your older brother also gets to call the games in Spanish here for the radio station here for the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Points up, looks at his brother, his hero, along with Jose, the middle of the 3.
Look out. Shattered bat. Crawford, nice play to get Carlson. But that's a very good point, Eduardo. And the awareness, too. Yachty's so aware of everything going on around him. And in that moment, you got to hug your best buddy. You got to point up to your brother. one really encouraging sign this series for Molina. A little bit of a slow start. Promised it was going to get better and better. Had that big double. There's Benji right there. Had that big double. Yeah, strong like Molina. And then a home run.
Very, very close, both of them. Add Jose to the list.
On the ground, Belt will field. Not an easy throw, but he gets Bader.
Yeah, Jose, a big part of the 2009 Yankees World Championship team. Actually, in the middle of that World Series, we caught A.J. Burnett and put Jorge Posada on the bench because of his catching skills.
Absolutely one of the best framers out there.
Yeah, before we measured framing, right?
Exactly.
A.J. Burnett knew what framing was.
Molina's dad was Benji Molina Sr. Eddie, correct me here. He lived in El Pueblo de los Nangatos, the village of the squatters, which actually referred to the pose, right, of the local sugarcane cutters. You'd think village of the squatters, Molina's, it's the village of the catchers, but it was about the sugar canes, which led to the, well, a bunch of catchers came from that area.
The sacrifice that both parents had to make, and again, he ended up passing away way too early.
Yeah.
But their fixture and their strength is their mom. And the first thing when I came to the ballpark yesterday and asked Benji, how are you doing? I said, well, I just got off the phone with my mom. Man, she is a firecracker. She's awesome. It's like, that's the way she should be.
That's great. Sosa, this one into right center. He's thinking two as he takes a big turn and then puts the brakes on there. There's another good sign, too. Edmundo Sosa with a couple of hits tonight.
Especially that one right there. Breaking ball out going the other way, hitting it above 100 miles per hour, 103.3 to be exact. Again, to right center field. You're Ollie Marmol. That's exactly what you want out of Edmundo Sosa, who's starting to get his timing as well at the plate.
Yep. 4 runs in the first, 1 run in the third, 4 more in the fourth, 2 here in the fifth. Back to the top, Tommy Edman, just to wrap up the Molina conversation. Remember, he debuted in 04. By 21, 06, he'd already played in a couple of World Series. Before the age of 25, Yogi Berra and Johnny Bench were the other two. This sport, I mean, we talked, there's a great article Jeff Passan wrote about Arenado, and we talked a lot on the Baseball Tonight Sunday Night Countdown show about mobility and agility and flexibility and trying to cheat old age. But what Molina and Pujols and Wainwright are doing tonight. They're not only cheating it, they're killing it. Get off of me, Yachty. And then a curtain call for the great proud folks here in St. Louis. What a moment for Molina and company here in the nation's Midwest. Tomorrow night, 7:30 ESPN Plus. 2 really good teams, the Braves and the Brewers. ESPN Plus back here. One of the teams that the Brewers are going to have to contend with in the National League Central. These St. Louis Cardinals rolling tonight. Up 11-0. Adam Wainwright only 75 pitches as we start the 6th inning and jumping ahead of Lamont Wade Jr. 0-2. I've been told that Tim can add. Tim, can you add? This is playable for Yepes.
Yes, Ravi. So Wainwright lost his no-hitter last inning in the 5th inning. There has not been a no-hitter thrown in St. Louis since 1983. Bob Forsch. That's kind of amazing, given how many really good pitchers have come through here. And also, by the way, on this date in 1984, Joaquin Andujar, pitcher for the Cardinals, hit a grand slam. He pitched over 2,000 innings in his career, never gave up a grand slam, but he hit one.
Right.
Think about that for a second.
Just keep thinking to Bartolo Colon's home run. For some reason, now that we're just on the pitcher hitting home run conversation, how many times did you go deep?
In batting practice? A few times in batting practice. I went upper deck in the old candlestick in batting practice.
Never in a game.
Never in a game.
Swing lefty or righty?
Lefty.
But yeah, I mean, you batted, no? You never had. How many times did you bat?
Oh, quite a bit. I have 60-something big league hits. Yeah. I led the league one year. I have a batting title.
What you did?
234 I batted one year, I think 1991.
A silver slugger?
No, because Don Robinson actually had 3 or 4 home runs that year.
Oh,
had a higher OPS.
Slugging, huh?
OPS.
OPS, what was
OPS
that back
plus
then?
was higher than mine.
They have the plus back then? That ball's driven to left. Yepes going back. He's at the track, stops, and he reaches up to make the play. 2 down. Good ride from Brandon Belt.
Well, you talk about home runs. The guy on the mound has 10 career home runs. Adam Wainwright, one of the guys that was really disappointed when there was no more pitchers hitting.
Well, that's an interesting point because the pitchers that can really hit, say Madison Bumgarner, they really had an advantage because they were going to bury the opposing pitcher. The opposing pitcher wasn't going to get anything, and you were going to get yours because you were a good hitter.
It's a really efficient outing from number 50. So Ed Sfida, of course, our booth coordinator and statistician extraordinaire, 234 and 89, 64 career hits for Coney, 9 doubles, 28 runs, 22 RBI.
Well, back then, you know, we were allowed to throw more pitches.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of at-bats throughout a year. A starting pitcher would get 80 at-bats a year, somewhere in that range.
0-2, and that is hooked into left field. That's going to get down. Wilmer Flores will round, and he'll get to second base, having a hard time picking it up out there. Yepes, but a double for Wilmer Flores. All right, who had more stolen bases, Coney or Eduardo?
Wow. Really? I'm hoping me.
I had none.
I think I had the wind on my back, though. I think that helped.
He had none. You know how many stolen bases you had?
I do not recall.
Double digits?
I want to say yes, but it could be a no.
I want to say yes, but it could be a no.
That's called hedging.
19 career stolen bases, 13 caught stealing.
There we go.
Coney, you were caught once in '88. Do you remember that?
I do not. Honestly, do not remember that. Too much caffeine.
I wonder how long they're going to go with Adam Wainwright, just coming off the COVID IL. No one's still warming up at the bullpen. 87th pitch coming up.
1-0, and Jock Peterson right through it. 82, changeup up in the zone.
To me, with an 11-0 lead, is 6 innings enough?
Well, regardless, it would have been really difficult for him to complete a no-hitter with the pitch count where it is now here in the 6th inning. So probably the most relieved guy is in the dugout for the Cardinals. Their pitching coach and Marmo, their manager, that they did not have to make that decision tonight. Maddox and Marmol right there.
Ball in.
Did that get him? No, plate umpire Greg Gibson's looking like, Jock, did that get you? I'm waiting to see if there's any reaction. No reacts. Didn't sell it.
No reacts, but this is the master. This combination is the master of being able to set up pitches. Let's see what he does right here after that tight fastball. Where does he go with the next? Is it change up, down, and away?
Hammered. That's why you don't want to get hit by a pitch. Peterson, exit stage right. Jock Peterson stayed in there, didn't get hit by the pitch, and now delivers his 7th home run of the season. The first runs that Wainwright has allowed tonight.
Tried to double up back in. Jock Peterson, who has been struggling mightily the last 14 days. That one right there left the ballpark in a hurry. Fastball, too much of the plate on the inside part. Was able to keep it fair. Fastball did not go with the off-speed pitch. Jock made him pay.
110 off the bat, Eddie 392 feet later before it landed in the seats in right field. And the first blemish for Wainwright, who's been terrific tonight. Now Mike Yastrzemski. Well, Eddie, this is one of the few guys that you can relate to, and he can relate to you, given the relationship to a Hall of Famer. Grandfather Carl, and of course your dad, who just celebrated birthday number 80.
Yeah, feliz cumpleaños to my father, Tony Perez. 80 years young. Celebrating it in Puerto Rico.
But the uniqueness of the last name, I mean, Perez is somewhat common, that there may be a few who's like, a lot of Perez's played baseball. Not many other Yastrzemskis played Major League Baseball. So you carry that name around Massachusetts, where he grew up, and people are like, something there, right?
Well, that's what they thought for a while, and it didn't really present itself till he got to the Giants.
You know what, though? He's created his own identity there. And to his credit, continued grinding through the minor leagues. Got better and better every year.
Yeah, for a while, it was just almost just a name for him. And all of a sudden, hey, he's got a nice swing.
By the way, breaking news is Adam Jones just texted me and said that Jock Peterson is using his batting gloves.
Yeah, as this one is high and heading towards the seats, that's where Edman's going, but it'll be a souvenir. Mike lost his own dad at the age of 44 from a heart attack after he had hip surgery. He's a Vanderbilt kid, and he went to Vanderbilt, stayed there for his senior year. Mariners really tried to make a legitimate push to sign him, but he wanted to complete his degree. His dad, Mike, left Florida State one course shy of a degree. Carl left Notre Dame after his freshman year, so the education component, the education piece, getting that college degree, was very important to that guy right there. And you're not only getting an education in the classroom when you go to Vanderbilt, you're getting one. Oh, what a play from Tim Corbin in that organization. Outstanding play. Edmundo Sosa continues to have an outstanding night for the Cardinals, offensively and defensively. Goldie and Arenado, the home run guys, coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, for the best coverage in today's game. Let's take a look at some of the offense through the T-Mobile multi-view tonight, Eddie.
Body control on the left-hand side. Watch Goldschmidt's front foot, the left foot. Just puts it up, heel down, bat through the zone quick, lightning fast all of a sudden. St. Louis Cardinals, 3 pitches in. We're up 2-0.
And the new pitcher is Junior Marte, third time up this season.
Out.
First pitch. This is 7 2/3, an ERA over 7. So the Cardinals have destroyed the Giants and Rodon tonight. A really rare outing for Carlos Rodon. You take a look at Marte's numbers, and that ball is lifted to center. Playable Yastrzemski. Sky high off the bat of Goldie. The launch angle of 43 degrees. Talked about this at the top of the telecast. Arenado and Goldschmidt, given their careers in Arizona and Colorado, the numbers 33-28, 214 runs batted in, OPSs each over 880. First and second among active players. Number one opponent for Goldschmidt, second most damage that Arenado's done against an opponent.
41 home runs since the beginning of last year have been pulled home runs for Nolan Arenado. This year he's not missing that fastball.
Good slider, 85 miles an hour from Marte. Goldschmidt 3 hits tonight, homer, double. Arenado homer. Yepez reached base twice. Pujols double, single, walk, reached base 3 times. Yachty a single and a homer.
Ball in. 2-1.
The Cardinals have a lot of reasons, especially in light of what we've seen tonight with Wainwright. Miles Michaelis has been terrific. There was some news from Ollie Marmol yesterday as Arenado pulls it foul about Jack Flaherty. Really made it sound like when he talked to us that it's a month or so away from anything, and that's really unfortunate for one of the better young pitchers in the game of baseball. But it looks like Flaherty's like at least a month away, maybe more.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge because when he's freed up to start building up again, then that's 3 weeks to a month away. After that point, it's very hard to project.
3-2.
And that's barring any setbacks along the way.
Yep. But there was an encouraging start from Hicks. We've got 5 innings. I mean, his story from reliever, flamethrower to starter, going to give him some length, is a big deal.
Ball 4.
Way inside, 97, and Marte walks Arenado.
Seems like this year in particular, with offenses being suppressed, whether it's the baseball, whether it's great pitching, it's easier to find a pitcher than it is a hitter. Generally speaking, across the board.
Yep.
Most teams are looking for an extra bat right now as opposed to an extra arm, by and large.
Three on the left side for Yepez. This Junior Marte, the third pitcher for the Giants after Rodon got hit around and Littell came in and gave up a bunch. 96 with some movement. Standard operating procedure for most of these major league teams now. Bullpen arms to the moon that can all throw at 96 and above.
The pipeline too, if you look at some of the minor league games this year in AAA and AA, the velocity is really up there as well.
That pipeline can drip all the way into college.
Yes.
Yepez, he got jammed, but he's strong enough to get it into left field, and there are 2 more Cardinals on in this inning. Every inning they've had base runners, multiple.
Oh, he saw the action and the motion of that ball just coming in with the ride, and he cleared his hips in a hurry. Was able to get a little bit above the label out over, and Yepez so strong. Now runners at first and second for the machine, Albert Pujols.
Cardinals have been terrific with runners in scoring position tonight. They're 4 of 5. Albert Pujols attempting in his 4th plate appearance to reach base for the 4th time.
Pretty good numbers from Albert Pujols this year. If you look at what we mentioned, his OPS now up to 793 after tonight's hot night.
When you first came up and you had to face like a Hall of Fame guy, like was there any thought as to who the guy was at the plate, or can you block all that out?
You definitely know who the guy is.
I would think this is just a really interesting, if not challenging, spot for a kid like Marte.
It is challenging. I remember as a young pitcher facing my idol, George Brett, for the first time. When he was on his 3,000 hit march. It was nerve-wracking.
Producer Joe McCoy, who's filling in admirably for our buddy Andy Jacobson. COVID IL, wishing him the best. No, he's feeling well. Family doing well. 2-1 to Albert. That's inside 3-1. So it's Joe's birthday today. Happy birthday to Joe. And you know who else's birthday it is today?
No, who?
Your idols.
Oh, George?
George Brett.
That's right. George Brett's birthday. Happy birthday, George.
There we go. Number 5.
John Smoltz' birthday today. Hall of Fame day.
No, he's on a golf course somewhere.
3 balls and a strike to Albert. Green light, and he missed a 98. Remember early in Albert's career, I mean, when he was just tracing everything. I mean, he was the subject of conversations and Sunday conversations, which we would do on SportsCenter. And remember, the secret sauce, all he would say was, I trust my hands. Like, that was the only thought he had. I trust my hands. There's not a lot that's changed about the way Albert looks at the plate, swings at the plate, and draws another walk to load him up.
And again, just the idea and understanding well ahead of his time when it came to evaluating pitchers and what they were trying to do to him at the plate. Well, that's it for the battery.
Yep. Molina, Wainwright will be in line to pick up a record-setting win as a battery, 203. Kisner is now going to bat for Yachty. He's out of the game. Guess they're going to leave Albert in as the DH, let him run around the bases. The bases full of Cardinals already with 11 runs in the game. And Kisner will add to it. Sends one into right. That brings in Arenado. Yepez is right on his tail. He's in. And it doesn't matter if you've sat all night, you come up with some wood and you're going to hit it well. Welcome to the offensive explosion. Kisner, 13-2.
Cardinals came out swinging. There was no batting practice on the field tonight, as they were expecting rain during batting practice. It never fell. But these Cardinal hitters came ready, swinging at the first pitch consistently tonight, barreling up baseballs and being able to score in round 3rd quite often.
He becomes the 9th different Cardinal with a hit tonight. And Dylan Carlson up. Strike 1. Amazing part about this wonderful game of baseball, you go in and you've got Rodon on the mound, and Cardinals and Wainwright, and you figure this is a 2-0 game, maybe 3-1. And look, here we are in the 6th inning, and it's 13-2, and Rodon was gone in the 4th. Carlson sky high. Crawford's going out. Coming in is Gonzalez. He calls it, and he makes the play. Now wearing the microphone again is this guy, Harrison Bader.
Get it! Hello, baby. Keep calling it, keep calling it, keep calling that. Keep calling that all the way. I got it, 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 I got it. In. Tough sky. You got room, you got room, you got room, you got room!
Tell you, if I'm an outfielder and he's yelling like that, I'm loving that. I mean, that's a great communicator out there, isn't it?
He is quarterback out there in the outfield.
Here you go. Bader to left field, coming hard. No, it drops in front of Gonzalez. And Harrison Bader joins the hit parade. He had been the only starter without a hit. And he's now part of the party. He was aware of that too. 10th different Cardinal with a hit.
Yachty right now asking Albert Pujols, Come on, man. Why didn't you score on that one? Let's go. Again, ball falls in front of him, and Albert playing it safe just because of the score. But let's not forget of one thing. San Francisco Giants this year don't play according to the score. They go out there, they continue to pound and continue to do the small things, even when they've had large leads, and that's been leading up to a lot of criticism from other organizations.
Yeah, Edmundo Sosa now up. They'll play it. They'll play a 3-run game the same way they will a 9-run game. It doesn't matter what inning it is. Yes, they've had some folks kind of refer to them as the Oakland Raiders of Major League Baseball. Sosa fouls off his foot. It's a hard one because the gray of these unwritten rules, and it's really your own interpretation of them. Didn't sit well with Bob Melvin and the Padres. And examples of bunting late in the game, stealing a base when you're up by a handful of runs late. They seem comfortable with it.
Unwritten rules are always going to be challenged as each generation turns over. And who made the unwritten rules, and what are they, and how do you know where they are, and where are they written?
They're buried somewhere, right?
They're not written, they're unwritten.
They're somewhere with Harrison Bader's Gold Glove, buried somewhere in New York. Frozen.
Who made those rules?
One and two to Sosa. Tough play. Oh, Crawford snared it on a short hop to get Edmundo Sosa. Who's having fun tonight? Cardinals? Cardinal Nation enjoying the way things are going? 10 different dudes have got a hit. It's been a celebration since Jump Street. Bader's into the act. Why not? I can do it too. All St. Louis on a Sunday night.
Well, Adam Wainwright is famous for his curveball, and we'll give you a look at why. Because he can throw it any time and any count. He's throwing it on 0-0, 0-1, he can get ahead. 0-2, he can put you away with it. If he needs to get back into a count, he can throw it to get a strike at any time. 7 times he got called strikes with it, where they just take it because it drops out of the sky. And then it's also a good ground ball pitch for him. When he needs a ground ball, he can throw it down on the ground, and Yadi Molina can get you a call there too on his framing ability as well.
TJ McFarland now going to pitch for the St. Louis Cardinals. They've taken Arenado out of the game. They've moved Juan Yepes from left field to first base, and Corey Dickerson out there in left field. There are McFarland's numbers. Longoria, who missed the first 5 weeks while recovering from a right index finger surgery. Of course, 10 years with the Rays, 3-time All-Star, 3 Gold Gloves. Just another veteran presence for this Giant team that's going to lean heavily on Longoria and Crawford. Hey, one thing, man. You watched what Junis did yesterday. This is a good staff, a really good starting staff. Webb is a Cy Young guy. Rodon has been a Cy Young guy. There's real reason for optimism the way this pitching is developed. Think about Wood is there, DeSclafani, Cobb. Good staff.
Cobb was a great find. His velocity really has jumped. He always had a good feel for pitching, an excellent changeup and good control. Now all of a sudden he's above average velocity. So another great find, Alex Cobb by the Giants.
Longoria, that's good into left field, and that'll get down. Dickerson will touch it for the first time. Brendan Donovan is now at third base. Arenado and Goldschmidt both out. Molina out. Those rare times you go in, you talk about those 3 veteran bandmates reunited. It certainly felt good tonight. Jairo Estrada will bat for Gabe Kapler. The 24th game in which there's been a pinch hitter for Gabe. It's funny, you have these nights, Coney, and I know you all had them. The greatest pitchers in the game have had them. do you question like what I did wrong? Did they know something? Like what happens on a night like this mentally to a pitcher who's so good like Rodon? Just, or could it be as simple as I missed location, didn't have it tonight?
You know, you certainly do want to take inventory on everything. You try to find a reason. What did I throw too many strikes? Did I throw not enough quality strikes? Did they have something on me? Were they picking something up? Was I really predictable?
Ball, no.
So once you get past that point, then you flush it and say, you know what, law of averages.
Right.
You know, it was a regression to the mean night for Carlos Rodon, and his ERA is up in the mid-3s now. He took a big hit with those 8 earned runs.
He took a big hit, but let's give a lot of credit also to the St. Louis Cardinals because their game plan was attack early. They knew the numbers that Rodon had once he got ahead in the count 0-1. They're ridiculous Bugs Bunny numbers.
Yep.
So the St. Louis Cardinals had to attack. They did, and when he missed location in the zone, and he missed a lot inside the zone, those guys right there capitalized on it. Goldschmidt, home run, supposed to be up. It was down. He hit it hard.
We've seen that trend all year long so far where pitchers are trying to be economical. They're throwing a lot more strikes early in the count. They're not wasting pitches when they do get 2 strikes. And hitters are adjusting. They're starting to swing at a lot more first pitches.
But to that point Eduardo's making, for Rodon coming into the game, we touched on it briefly, when he would go 0-1 on a batter, the opponent's batting average drops to 104. When it's 1-0, the opponent's batting average is 295. That is dramatic.
It's dramatic. You cannot let him and allow him to get ahead of you. Because if you do, he knows how to bury you. And I think the tall tale sign was after the home run to Goldie, he started throwing sliders after slider after slider, letting everyone know, I don't have command of my fastball yet within the zone. The good thing for the San Francisco Giants and Carlos Rodon, the velocity was there.
Yeah.
That was the big question mark last year.
Rodon signed a 2-year, $44 million deal with the Giants, and he's got an opt-out if he pitches 110 innings this year. He continues on the trajectory, throwing tonight out. He'll below that 110 out of the water, and he will join the elite pitchers in salary and years because he's proven there is no issue anymore. Had Tommy John, took some bone chips out of the elbow. On the ground, Donovan, Sosa, double play. McFarland gets out of it. And everything is going the Cardinals' way. 13-2, bottom 7 coming up. We're in Busch. Welcome back. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Telecast is presented by Taco Bell. Before the game started, Eduardo had a chance to catch up with Nolan Arenado.
2021 season ends. Last out is made 2 days later. What are you doing?
Trying to find ways to get better, man. That's about it. You know, as a hitter, you want to feel like that rubber band effect, and I feel like I kind of lost that last year, and I had a hard time sustaining, you know, a good swing and feeling good.
What were some of the drills that you started doing to sort of get that flexibility back?
Oh, I mean, a bunch of stuff. I mean, from yoga to Muay Thai.
To what?
Muay Thai. Yeah, I mean, everything, man. Kickboxing, everything, just to get the hips firing, try to feel explosive again, and just to hit the ball hard. I mean, I did all this to try to hit the ball harder.
Where did you go for your bat experiment?
Yeah, we went to Marucci to go check up on some bats, and it's like a club fitting. You know, if you go for golf clubs, you know, you get fitted for your clubs because, you know, when you're younger, you can get away with swinging whatever, but as you get older, it ain't gonna work. I think the most of the weight, it's not so much at the end anymore, it's toward the middle, but this kind of helps make it not feel so heavy toward the end, or on the barrel.
So what you're trying to generate is bat speed, right?
That's it. The best players in the game right now, you know, we all know who they are: Ohtani, the Acuñas, Trouts. They all hit the ball extremely hard. Bryce Harper, they all hit the ball really hard, and I don't hit the ball quite as hard as them, and I still probably don't. But the fact that I can gain a little bit more, I feel like it's going to pay dividends in the long run. It's going to help me out.
Doesn't it feel weird that we haven't even talked about defense?
Yeah, it's all right, man. I'm actually okay with it. It feels good to actually talk about hitting because, you know, hitting's so hard, so it feels good to talk about it.
You mind if I take one of those bats with me upstairs?
Yeah, man, check it. Absolutely.
Really interesting the way that Arenado went about business following the season last year, and he did it 48 hours after the year. ended. So it's all about the equipment. It's all about the bat.
It really is. And again, Marucci made this bat for him. They call this the hockey puck knob, and he actually holds it around here with his pinky. You see some others like Paul Goldschmidt, he holds it around here. But the interesting part of this is now where the weight is. This bat, instead of being a 31-ounce bat that he usually uses, is actually 1.5 ounces heavier. And it is half an inch longer than what he used in the past, but it still feels the same. And interestingly enough, in order for the weight distribution to be perfect for him, to be around this area right here, he has to then cup the bat. So the bat is cupped almost 1.25 inches on this end by Marucci as it goes deep. And that way it allows his bat speed, which last year was around 70 miles per hour, to be 1.5 miles quicker. It's 72 miles per hour now. That's a lot. Faster bat speed, ball comes off the bat a little bit quicker, and if it does, it'll average out to at least 7 to 14 feet in distance if it's hit at the right launch angle like it was earlier today on the home run.
So like a golf club, since he went with the golf analogy, there's a sweet spot on the face of that bat, right?
Yes, there is. And again, for some guys, it's bigger than others. He just has a really good knack of being able to know where the barrel is at all times.
Dickerson, his first at bat, flies out to left.
It's actually very comfortable with the bat. You see in the 4th inning right here, the slider hits it out front, takes a good look at it, but all of this does not work unless he's grounded, unless he can hit off the back of his foot and be able to generate that speed from the hips. And that's why not only did Nolan change the bat, but he also changed how the weight distribution was with his legs and the flexibility around his hips.
The first stop was like at the Titleist Performance Center, wasn't it?
It was. And then from there, he ended up going to the Marucci lab, the hitting lab. And then from the Marucci hitting lab, he then went to Driveline to be able to continue this process. But all of this had to start with his hips. And from 10 degrees of flexibility, now he's more into the 40 to 45 degrees of flexibility, and it's worked. And by the way, there's a great article by Jeff Passan on ESPN.com, which is a must-read about Nolan Arenado and what he did in the offseason.
Ollie Marmol talked about Arenado, Goldschmidt, Pujols, Molina, Wainwright. It was a really good point that he made for such a young guy. It's like 35-year-old manager. And he said, you know, the great ones, and you guys have been around them, the great ones, you don't ever have to worry about the great ones. They'll always do the things generally that are going to be required to keep them great, to make them even better than they were when they were great. Arenado had a good year last year. It's like 30 and 100. Good year, but he knew not good enough. More in there.
He missed a lot of fastballs. Last year he hit 220 off the fastball. And he needed to be able to hit the fastball in order to get those hanging sliders that he's getting right now. He's not missing the elevated one, and that makes a big difference to who he is at the plate.
Great story about Rodon, who was a really good pitcher, borderline great pitcher. And when the White Sox didn't tender him, he and his wife were set to go on a vacation. When he got the call that we're not going to offer you a contract, he basically put a net up in his house and just started firing fastballs. And so we're not going to go on vacation. I'm now going to get better. There's way more in here than being non-tendered by an organization. And all that work, all those steps that go into finding that next level, the great ones do it. They don't rest on their laurels generally. Why Tiger Woods changed his golf swing when he was dominating the PGA Tour.
And you're right. They used to do it in different ways back in the day. It was playing winter ball. You played winter ball, David.
Yes.
I played winter ball. But now there is so much information out there with the data, with the systems where you get so many patches put around your body that kinetically you know your body well. But it tells you that information, what needs to be fixed. And because of it, players are understanding that information better and better every year.
There's no doubts that biomechanics is playing a big part nowadays. How the body moves, being able to track that with technology and being able to measure it. is a big part of the game.
Snoop, what are we doing today?
Just living the fine life, baby.
Okay, cool. Gonna block off my calendar.
Let me hold that real quick. The best plans are no plans.
I needed to upgrade my phone anyway.
That wasn't Carlos Rodon in the offseason, that's for sure.
That's right. But Andy Samberg nailed that line. Yepes up with 2 men on. And for everybody else that has been taken out of the game, the guy that hasn't been taken out of the game yet is wearing number 5 there in white. Albert Pujols is in the on-deck circle. This is the let's get Albert some chances against some right-handed pitchers. Absolutely. And I think I saw, didn't Albert say to Ollie, like, I'm DH, I'm good, leave me in, I want to stay in this game.
He knows the value of at-bats, right? And get some more right here without having been pinch hit for. I'll tell you this, Carl, I think in having a conversation also with the Bat Lab folks who have been very generous to supplying me information as well in Marucci, is that more and more players, more professional players are already calling in,
of course,
to get their data as far as their bat. And I think a lot more players are going to start understanding what it is to understand what your body does and how to put it in optimum shape.
0-2 ripped off the bat and going back. Gonzalez, he's there and he will make the play. Luis Gonzalez cut it off. Albert Pujols comes up with 2 men on.
I mean, I know he's 55, but I was got to score there. RBIs get you paid in this game.
Go back to Bader's last at bat where he actually got a hit, and Albert Pujols, you saw him put the brakes on at third base. I think players are in tune with what drives the contract now. RBIs get you paid.
It. OPS gets you paid right now. Hard hit rate, exit velocity.
Actually, in arbitration, there's still kind of a throwback mentality, and if you're an arbitration eligible player, maybe not a free agent.
Well, the challenge for Albert so far tonight against the righties has been getting any pitch to hit. He's been walked the last 2 times up, and already in a 2-0 hole is Junior Marte on the mound. The Giants are very content to let Marte stay as long as they need him to. There's nobody moving out there in that Giant bullpen. And Albert, ground ball. This is bobbled, and he looked at a double play in the mouth and didn't like what he saw. Albert had not even decided to run. Like, double play, inning over, and when he looked down at third base and saw that ball bobbled, he said, I will now have to go. A rare miscue by Evan Longoria.
Yeah, no one is more upset than Evan Longoria here. Albert knows ground ball. There's no way he's going to beat it out. He hears the fans cheer, and he's like, whoa, wait a second. Right. Let me get to first base. But Evan Longoria, on a long night for the Giants, makes a rare error.
So Andrew Kisner will bat with the bases loaded, 13 already in. Strike 1. Yeah, but the copycat mentality, it surprises no one that people look at the bat that Arenado's using or the exercises that others have done and say, well, it worked for them, it's probably going to work for me. I got to go try it.
Yeah, they are going to try it, and I know that more players are going to reach out, but again, for Nolan Arenado, it wasn't just the bat. It was a series of things, and he put the work in.
Oh, gosh, that drilled Kisner right in the back. And Junior Marte, almost one of those deals where you watch where the balls are going early and you just worry that something like that's going to happen with the bases loaded. obviously there's no intent, but there's also no real recognition of where it's going at that point.
It's always the arm side run that gets away from pitchers. The right-handed pitcher, this is up and in to a right-hand batter. That's where you lose it.
Maybe Luis Gonzalez, the left fielder, is going to come in to pitch, which is exactly what appears to be happening. It's one of those nights where we're going to have a position player on the mound. It's Luis Gonzalez. Bases are loaded. There are 2 down. Welcome back. ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. All right, Luis Gonzalez was a pitcher at the University of New Mexico, and he throws the first pitch in there for a strike at 80 miles an hour. So it's now Gonzalez's game. We mentioned nobody was warming up. Throws another one, and that one is into right. Gets down off the bat of Dylan Carlson. 1 run comes in. Pujols puts the brakes on at third.
The science of shine. Lightning fast with ultra-durable, super hydrophobic results. Mother's CMX line of car care products. The advanced science of shine.
17 hits, a season high for the Cardinals. Their 15 runs season high.
Ball 2.
Now, and one of the reasons that the Giants did what they did early in the game, early in the season, with some of those games that were blowouts, 3-0, is because Gabe Kapler would make the argument, well, we've got to keep trying because that could affect the other team's bullpen, position players. It would have an impact on them, and we're trying to make sure we win as many and the opponent loses as many games, because who knows, it could come down to, like last year, 1 game difference, Dodgers and Giants.
Right.
So the idea that Gonzalez is on the mound and nobody else is warming up, this is, I'm guessing, his way of saving any other arms that he would like to use in a meaningful spot.
And he has to.
Oh,
one of the big reasons he has to is because the San Francisco Giants from here go to Colorado. And in Colorado, you use a lot of arms. They get beat up. And right now he's trying, he's already conceded to this game. How do I get by and make sure that my bullpen is ready for the elements in the Mile High City?
Well, I have some theories on this, Carl. If you're going to have a designated pitcher.
And Bader got one to hit, fires his bat down, because this is going to end up being the 3rd out. I can't wait to hear them.
Tell me more.
I'm all about your theories.
I have a good rant coming, so stay tuned.
Cliffhanger.
Take a look at our game track. It's brought to you by Geico. All red, white, and some black and blue tonight, the way the Cardinals have put it to the Giants. 15-2. Carlos Rodon didn't have it, or the Cardinals had something on him. 10 hits, 8 earned runs, 3 strikeouts on a guy that hadn't given up a homer all year, and only 7 earned runs coming into this. He gave up 8. Wainwright was spectacular. The veterans for the Cardinals tonight, Wainwright, Molina, Pujols, all contribute. Goldschmidt and Arenado continue to destroy the Giants. New pitcher is Andrew Verhagen for the Cardinals, and Coney, who has thought about his philosophies and theories, is ready to deliver.
Well, you know, if you're going to have a designated pitcher, obviously in a game like this,
ball that's up.
I believe you should practice for it. You just don't bring an outfielder in and he starts throwing 83 miles an hour. I think slower is better. First, you protect the outfielder's arm. Secondly, it's harder to hit slower. 62 is better than 72.
Brendan Donovan, nice play. So, what, I mean, isn't this the...
Learn an ephus pitch.
Or a knuckleball.
Something that's less taxing on your arm. Slower is better. There's less risk, and then it's tougher to hit, too, and it's more fun for the fans, too. You get a little excitement. You know, Brett Phillips does a pretty good job with Tampa Bay, who's done it several times. Got a little style on the mound. He gets some arc on it, mixes it up.
Given up 3 home runs so far this year, too.
They happen quick. That's part of the entertainment. You don't worry about home runs. You worry about whether you can brush your teeth with your dominant arm the next day.
That makes sense.
Take the risk out of it. Put some fun into it. Don't try to throw too hard.
Left field quickly going back. Dickerson, he will be there to make the play. So I like that. It's now we're cutting down rosters, etc. Number of pitches limited. But would it be a position player who has experienced the pitcher? But here's what we want you to do.
Absolutely, and I would practice it on the side or in spring training. And the higher arc you get, the folly floater.
Slow softball pitch.
Slow softball pitch. Absolutely. Learn how to throw strikes like that. Just get the ball over the plate, but take all the risk out of hurting yourself. Jose Canseco had elbow surgery one year when he tried to be a designated pitcher.
Kirk Sally batting. How hard is it to hit an ethos or one that's like double ethos coming in 40 miles an hour?
It's actually very difficult to do. I was very surprised when the other day Mike Trout was able to hit a home run off Brett Phillips.
Rock pile.
Just first pitch, no timing whatsoever. Let's go. And then Anthony Rendon came up.
I was going to leave that to you to describe that scene with yourself, Carl.
That felt like
Louis,
that felt like the picture being worth 1,000 words that I would have given it. So let the picture tell the story. Ohtani homered again. The Angels are just killing it this year, huh?
They are. I mean, it's really, if you think about it, the battle for New York and the Mets and the Yankees, the battle for LA.
Yes,
the Dodgers and the Angels.
And you can throw the Giants and Padres in from a California perspective.
Yes.
By the way, you got Ohtani, you got Trout, Taylor Ward's having a monster season as well there.
See, if I'm kind of going on the Arenado, got a new bat, I want to figure out exactly what Ward is doing. Because Ohtani and Trout, you're kind of like, what is he doing? What did he do to get to this level?
One thing that he did do was work with his buddy Woodward, and it's worked for him. Shohei Ohtani. Nolan Arenado talked about the bat speed. Nolan's bat speed, 72 miles per hour. Ohtani's bat speed, 80 miles per hour. That's how he does it. Taylor Ward's also cut down his swing in a major way and revamped his swing. And a lot of off-season work, and from where he was a couple years ago to where he is now is night and day, but it's putting the work in the off-season.
You know, I know one thing leads to another, but just the equipment itself is interesting to me. The club fitting process.
Yeah.
And then you could be the best, most fine-tuned athlete in the world, and you go in there, the finest baseball player in the world. You're physically already in tip-top shape. You go in there, and are there subtle tweaks to the bat you can make that can increase your smash factor, as they use in golf, or your exit velocity, or your bat speed? That's fascinating to me.
Wilmer Flores straight up. Kisner. Got it. That's the third out. The other part for the Angels, Ohtani, Syndergaard, Sandoval, Lorenzen, Reed Detmers. They're pitching this year, too. Take a look at StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. This is the most difficult part for hitters, tied with Oakland and Seattle. And the Cardinals homer last year, 150 at home. They belted 52 more on the road. That hasn't been a problem tonight. So StatCast kind of dealt with the anti-StatCast numbers. And there you go. Apparently, the Giant clubhouse locked into David Cohn's philosophy of just lob it in there. 44 miles an hour was the first one. So they're listening.
Now we're talking.
You know what happens? Lefties like this. Bill Lee tried to do this to my old man in 1975.
Yes. That didn't go well.
Spaceman.
It was the third time he tried it in that World Series. The third time the charm.
Ground ball, good play at short. I like what we're seeing here. I love the cone theory.
Absolutely. Throw it as slow as you possibly can. I want to see something in the 30s. 44 is not bad.
Want more stats? Just ask Siri, who leads MLB in OPS?
Look at the hitters. They're toe tapping 4 times. They just can't. They've never seen anything like it.
Look out. That's bounced. Look out. Oh, no. He can throw it 60 feet 6 inches at 40 miles an hour. He tried to do it again at 20, and he didn't get it there.
Well, the reaction of Luis Gonzalez right there throwing it to Casali at first base. All you could do right now if you're Gabe Kapler, just smile. Thumbs up, man. Nothing you can do right here. He puts his hands on his head after he throws it, too. After the high leg kick, he taps again. How do you break that down?
Look at that swing. Everybody can have a laugh, even on the losing side.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
The two guys have been buzzkilled. Pujols didn't want to run on that ball. That should have been the double play. And Edmonds like, just let's go here. It's 15-2. So the first inning that Gonzalez threw, he was throwing like 80 miles an hour, 75. This is all 40 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you this, if he gets hit by a pitch here, I'd actually tell Alex, dude, go back to the dugout, you're out.
This is absolutely like slow pitch softball, and you can just see the softball player waiting and waiting. Difference is usually a softball player, they got, you talk about launch angle. I mean, they are swinging for the moon. Edmund got on top of the last one.
I just still don't understand why the hitters are not in the front of the batter's box. They're in the front of the batter's box.
It's appropriate. Full moon. Exit velo on some of these swings are about 45, 50 miles an hour. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We just went cheese. Boy, Coney. Anti-theory guy.
That is the widest variance of any 2 pitches in the history of the game. From
40 miles an hour. 45 to 85. Now you go back to the slow stuff?
Yes.
Yep. Suit up this summer, MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Outfit the whole family with your favorite team's gear at MLBshop.com. Eddie, I'm losing track of my scorecard. Give me the last 4 guys, please.
Sure, no problem. That's what I'm here for.
I was joking. I thought you would stop keeping score.
I did. But I called your bluff.
Yes, sir. 47.
Paint.
Top of the zone. Give us a little K zone on it. Yep.
Ball out.
Pressure on the hitter here, Eddie. How intense is it? Like, man, this stuff's coming in. I mean, Brendan Dunham's trying here.
The good thing is none of your coaches or staff or even front office is evaluating you as a hitter here. This is an anomaly. It's okay. We're winning 13 runs, bottom of the 8th inning. Steal a hit if you can.
Arbitration.
Yes.
Go right
Add your
back.
stats.
Jeez. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, what a play, Gonzalez there. Because Donovan was racing over. That was not an easy play. All right, we will do this. Best thing I saw. It was strange, bizarre. You have to see it when we come back. And we'll get Coney's theory on the whole thing. History here in Busch Stadium. Albert Pujols is on the mound. The greatest right-handed hitters of all time, making his first ever pitching appearance in a 15-2 game. It brought the crowd, as large as it still is, to its feet. A standing ovation.
Even the Giants.
Giants too, as Albert has never done this in his major league career. Reminded by Ed Safita. We now have a pitcher on the mound who has more homers than Ohtani by a lot. And he walked the first guy that he saw, Darren Ruff.
Wow. Greg Gibson squeezing him right there with that last one.
Wonder whose idea this was in the dugout. Was it Albert's? Was it Ollie Marmol's? Was it Wainwright and Molina? But the Giants, let's get up there and hack too here. We're gonna build up the number of pitchers on Albert's arm. There you go. That's going to go foul. This falls right into the category that our buddy Tim Kirkshin always likes to say. You go to the ballpark and you never know what you might see. There's no way you're going to the ballpark today thinking I'm going to see Albert Pujols pitching in a major league game. Albert's first out recorded by Harrison Bader. MLB.TV, 50% off for a limited time only. Stream out-of-market regular season games live or on demand, plus MLB Big Inning and select pregame and postgame coverage. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Albert finally got it. He took about 10 miles an hour off that last pitch.
That's what you have to do.
54 instead of 64.
There it is.
Get some arc on it.
How's the form, Connie?
Better now. He's settling in.
Now it's got some drop. It's called gravity.
Gravity's your friend here.
No, Evan Longoria hooks one into left, so Albert gives up his first hit. We need a strikeout. Right? We got to have a strikeout. Hey! That's got to be on the Hall of Fame resume.
Longoria having some fun with Albert on that one. He wants the ball.
That's true.
I love it. How about Evan Longoria asking for the baseball right there?
I love it. Pujols was doing a lot of hand gesturing in the dugout. Once, I think, to suggest he wanted to stay in as the DH. There's also a chance he was telling Marmol, I want to pitch. Two and 0 from number 5, just outside. 3 balls, no strikes.
Last thing Ollie Marmol wants is the bullpen to start.
Here we go. Double play ball will end it. They'll flip. They'll throw. Safe. Albert was ready to celebrate. He was ready with a fist pump.
On Al Roboski's birthday, Albert Pujols was trying to do a little bit of the Mad Hungarian out there to finish out the game.
Well, here we go. I mean, how good is this? So Luis Gonzalez, who came in to pitch as a position player, now comes to the plate to face Albert Pujols.
Who's going to break it to Albert that he doesn't get a save for this?
Ooh, good one there. On the corner at 62. Ollie Marmol may have found a secret weapon.
Ball.
Oh. tried a little bit of the Gonzalez special.
Nice.
He's in the 40s.
Sub 50.
If you want to throw slower, the key is to land first. Land, and then your arm comes through. Ball up.
Again, Albert Pujols on the mound for the Cardinals in a 15-2 game in the ninth. He's got 2 outs. Look out. Gonzalez to right. Albert looking at it. So's everyone else. Albert's given up a homer. Now he knows what it feels like to be on the other end.
But he gave it up to a pitcher.
He's got an ERA now.
So Gonzalez is in the game as a pitcher. He joins Ohtani as the only pitcher this year to homer.
We got to get Tim Kirchin in on this one.
Well, Coney, it was a bit of a hanger.
Yeah. Got to get the spin rate on this. Hold on.
Hey! The only thing we're missing is a strikeout. We've got the walk, we've got the hit, we've got the homer. Here we go.
I say drop down. Give him a little Laredo right here.
Unfortunately, Joey Bart has done this a lot. He goes slow. This one to left. Back at the wall. And it's gone. Joey Bart with 2 strikes goes deep. And then Albert's ERA is climbing
quickly.
At some point, there's going to be gambling involved with baseball. You had, imagine just watching this with an over-under of, say, 17 runs. And all of a sudden, we're at 21. That's something down the road that's going to be something to think about.
Indeed.
Crowd is just jonesing for an Albert Pujols strikeout. Lamont Wade. No. This could do it. Albert's got his hand up. There you go. The ERA may be 54, but no one's going to forget what we saw tonight. And certainly the people that stayed to watch the end. Witness Albert Pujols with a baseball that he didn't hit as a souvenir. It's one he threw as a pitcher. And good on Oli Marmol or whoever on the Cardinals said, let's do this. I'm all in on that.
I love it. I love both. I love the, there's some strategy involved. I've made my opinion known. Throw slower, get some arc on it. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's having a good time.
Mike Maddox enjoying it as well.
What a great night. I mean, it was a blowout game, 15-6 with 17 hits, but we got a chance to watch Wainwright pitch outstanding. Molina hit. We saw Albert Pujols get some hits and pitch. Arenado and Goldschmidt, a good night all around. If you love the Cardinals, they get the job done to none and win it 15-6. Next week, it'll be the White Sox and the Yankees. SportsCenter's coming up next. Kevin Connors and Michael Eaves. Thanks again to our production crew, all back in Bristol. And Tim Kirkshin down on the field. For Eduardo Perez and David Cohen, I'm Carl Ravitch. Thanks for watching, everybody. SportsCenter, Kevin and Michael.